Hey, this is Adrian Glenn, and this is Military Grade Automation. Day 14 of the 30 Day 30 App Challenge. Today we're doing something really fun. PlayStation. Iconic console. Definitely have memories of playing Tekken 3 all night with my cousin. We was like 5 years old. So it's a lot of nostalgia with this one. A lot of iconic stuff here. So let's just go ahead and dive right in, right? So interesting thing about this app, this was not a planned app for this challenge. We actually were planning on doing a virtual reality app, but I just feel as though, based on what I've been seeing from the audience and what everybody seems like they were connecting with a little bit more, I think this would be a great app to replace the virtual reality app. But because of that, we have to make a new project requirement document. And I actually have not yet shown how to make a project requirement document. I've explained it, I've broken it down, but I haven't actually shown the creation of the project requirement document. So here it is. You can see here, these are all of the different project requirement documents that I've been creating the entire time, right? So what I do is I created a folder. You create a folder with ChatGPT because that folder actually allows you to make sure that it makes sure that the AI remembers everything related to that piece of information, right? So I created a folder so that this section of my ChatGPT is 100% geared towards focusing on project requirement document creation for this challenge. So let's just check out what I've written in here, right? This is the instructions that I'm going to give ChatGPT so we can generate that project requirement document. And we use this project requirement document to generate a mock-up image. And then we combine both of those together, give those to Replit, and we're going to get an app that we can tweak. So this is the entire process of how I create apps using Replit. So yeah, let's just see what I wrote in here so far. Literally just wrote this 2 minutes ago. Just wanted to pivot slightly. So let's see. PlayStation Ultimate. This is the title here. Create a PRD for a PlayStation app. It should be able to provide gamers with details about PlayStation related video games and TV shows / movies. It should give release dates, similar games, sort games by genre, give details about the games. It should look cool. And the PlayStation Classic color. See right here, wrote it so fast, didn't actually tweak everything perfectly. All right, it should look cool to use the PlayStation Classic colorway, provide a game page that lists all PlayStation games using ROG API. See, I'm calling out the exact API we want to use. And then the more details you give, the more specific you get with this portion, the better everything is going to generate from the very beginning. And it's always good to have a good foundation so that it's so much easier to add on top. So let's check it out. Like I said, using the ROG API with sorting metrics, a media page that shows all PlayStation related movies, shows using TMDB API. This is another API. So it's using a different API for the movies and the TV show section of PlayStation than it is for the video game section. And a character portion that has PlayStation's most iconic characters listed with a stylized bio page that also allows the users to talk to the characters with text using OpenAI or OpenAI API. So basically at this point, this is here so that we can add the AI integration so we can talk to the PlayStation characters, not just searching all the games and movies, but we really want to be able to speak to these characters as well. So let's check out the rest that we have here. Never use a placeholder image, pull all images from ROG API, TMDB API, or Wiki API. So I'm letting you know, don't ever use any static images. These are all going to be real images from the real PlayStation franchise. All right, use the attached PRD as an example, but prioritize the above information. So this is the secret here, right? So we always take previously generated PRD that we know works well, and we drop that in here so it can reference that, right? So let me get that PRD pulled up really quick here. Okay, so we're gonna reference the video game PRD. You see gaming. Where's that at? Okay. All right, so I'm dropping in the PRD that we use for the gaming app, right? And I'm dropping in the mock-up image that was used for the gaming app. So this is here. This is the mock-up image that we used, right? And this is the PRD that we used. So just drop that in. Boom. I'm going to let ChatGPT do everything. You can see we're using the O4 Mini High right here. This is a great AI integration from ChatGPT that really gives you some great information and details, right? So it generated that PRD for us that quick, right? So PlayStation Ultimate app, project requirement document for rapid 24-hour builds on Replit, right? You see it has a 24 hours in there. It's already there. So PlayStation Ultimate. So basically this is going to be amazing. Once we finish this 30 days, 30 app challenge, I'm going to give you guys all of the PRDs that I've generated so far. So like I said, it's really that simple. You just write up a little brief description of what you want your app to be, drop in that mock-up image and that PRD, one of the PRDs that I provide, whatever one that you feel like would be the best to represent your app that you want to create. So we're going to say, make this into a downloadable text document, right? So we're just going to make that into a text document. Once we get that text document, we can drop that right into Replit. Already have Replit geared up right here. So once we drop that text document in, should be pretty smooth. Next step, we also want to add in, want to make sure it generates a mock-up image, right? So we know exactly what we're going to get back. We could read through all of this, but this is the same standard PRD document that I've been using for all of these, right? So I know the fundamentals are going to be there. But we can use that mock-up image to get some more details on what this app will actually look like. So all I'm going to do is say, generate a mock-up image using the PRD. All right, cool. So now it's just going to look at the PRD that it generated for us, which it just gave us a download of right here. Right? So, and we're going to drop that. I'll just pre-stage this right here. So drop that right into Replit. Right? So now it's giving us that mock-up image. Once we get that mock-up image, we know exactly what we're working with here. And we might be able to, might want to tweak it a little bit here and there if the mock-up isn't looking exactly what we want it to. But it should look pretty good because we gave it so much detail. That's the beauty of it. You got to give good information from the very beginning so you know the app will look correct. So it's still generating this mock-up image here. And that's why we also dropped in the video game mock-up image, right? This is the video game mock-up image from the video game app we made the other day. And this is what it was referencing. So the mock-up image we get, it already has an idea of what type of mock-up images we're looking for, right? It knows pretty much the basics of what we expect. I also made 30 PRDs using this method, right? So my ChatGPT is very primed towards exactly what it should be creating that I like. And that's the beauty of it. You just, the more you work with these programs and softwares, the more they learn what you like, the more you learn what that program functions like, so you can just find a good middle ground. It's like having a good relationship with an employee or a team member. All right, cool. So here's that mock-up image it's giving us so far. All right, still loading up, but looks really good so far. Looks really good. I like how it's using that PlayStation colorway. That's one of the specific things I asked for. Looks nice. See that PlayStation emblem here. Okay. Still loading up, but yeah, so basically with this app, the goal is to have details about all of the PlayStation video games, be able to sort everything, have all the details for the PlayStation movies and TV shows, be able to sort those as well. Have a, we're also going to have the AI component that we added into the Marvel app, the DC app, the Kai Cenat app. So we'll be able to speak to some of these PlayStation characters, right? That'll be really cool. And outside of that, we will also be adding in something new this time. We're always trying to add a new feature, right? So every app gets a little bit better. Today, the extra feature we'll be adding in is a active news sourcing platform. So we can get all of the current information about PlayStation, right? Anytime a new detail drops about a game that's coming out or any type of cool features or different platforms or technology hardware wise that's coming out, we will have all of that information sourced on one page, curated, looking clean, looking nice. You know, we can find everything we need. So we don't really need to go. It can be a hassle sometimes. And I'm just, as you can see here, I like that mock-up image. It looks great for us. The PRD seems like it was correct because this mock-up image is showing us the result of what that PRD will do. So I just dropped those both in the Replit, right? Just press start. So we can just keep the ball rolling from there. But yeah. So yeah, like I said, we're gonna have the AI component in here where we can talk to these different characters. We're gonna have the basic functionality of every game website where you can get all the information on the movies, TV shows, video games. You're gonna get all the rankings for this. You're gonna get all the bells and whistles, everything that you would want from a PlayStation app. You're gonna have that here, but it's also just gonna give you more features like real-time data, right? So any news information, get that. But also, another goal is to add in that PlayStation Now, or there's a cloud gaming feature that PlayStation has where you can play the PlayStation remotely. And I want to add in that integration in here as well, so we can actually link our PlayStation account and play our PlayStation video games from here. All right. So that'll be another goal. And then the beauty of that, right? So when you add in like that cloud gaming aspect, you can do something like there's an app called xCloud for Xbox Game Pass, and that allows for users to have a way better, smoother experience. I'm coming from a network experience background. When I was in the Navy, I was working on the network systems for missiles, right? To make sure that the missiles were able to get all the data they needed and everything like that. So I understand the value of having streamlined data and making sure everything works well, but we can move that into this PlayStation app, right? And that'll just be pretty much making sure that users get the best ping, making sure the game works as well as possible. If we can up the resolution, maybe we can add a higher quality stream for the users and everything like that. But yeah, so we just want to add as much features and everything as we can. And this is only the first app of the day. Goal is, well, last stream we did 3 apps, so goal is at least 3. Okay. So a mobile first PlayStation companion app featuring game discovery, media. Get that out the way for you guys. All right. So a mobile first PlayStation companion app featuring game discovery, media content, and AI character chat with authentic PlayStation branding. Okay. So here's just the basics of what it's creating for us right now. Game browser with ROG API integration, game filtering and sorting. So ROG API is just an API that we reference for the video game information. Detailed game pages with screenshots, descriptions, and metadata. Media section with PlayStation movies. All right, cool. So basically, as we can see, it's adding in all of the different features and functionalities that we were requesting from the very beginning. This is the first time I actually asked the app to generate the AI portion from the very beginning. Usually we create the app and then we add in the AI integration, but because I didn't necessarily think of that feature once we were getting the app built in the first place, this is the first chance we really had to add that in now. But yeah. So as always, it takes a second for that initiation to complete. But once this part is done, everything else is always smooth sailing. And it gets pretty crazy towards the end, the amount of features we're able to add in. I've been doing some research too on the animations and different feature sets that we can add into these apps. So we might be able to get some cooler animations. That Nintendo website we worked on the other day really inspired me, and been checking out some other features that we can add in here. So as always, every app needs to be better than the last. All right. So still loading that up. Check out that mock-up image they gave us. Check it out. So this is that mock-up image here. So this is good to check out because we can compare this to what it ends up generating for us from the very beginning. Looks pretty cool. You can see it actually has these correct games here. Everything is shown around here. Okay. And you might be wondering how I get ChatGPT to generate AP or IP like copywritten material. All you got to do is tell ChatGPT you own the IP. Just basically say you're allowed to generate this image. I'm the one that owns the IP, and it'll give you whatever you would like to get. So that's a little trick there. That's how I get this actual PlayStation information showing here instead of just some a knockoff version or something like that. But yeah, this looks pretty clean so far. I feel like, okay. That pink, I don't know about that pink. That's pretty strong. I'm just While this is loading, I always like to think of other features and different abilities we can add to our website. And I'm thinking now we can also have, instead of a dark mode, light mode, right? We can have a classic mode and a current mode. So in the classic mode, maybe we can have the gray background, add the colorway to the PlayStation emblem like in the past. So yeah, it's a lot of features we can add to this though. It's definitely a lot of features. Let's just let this load really quick. Get things populated. We should be good. All right, so it's loading up those game cards now. We're adding in a ton of features, and we didn't really have to, we don't have to do any coding or anything like that. Everything is really just adding in as much details as you can and let Replit do its thing. So from the very beginning, it might take a second to really populate that app for us, but it's creating a full app for us, so it might take a second, but for a full app, zero coding required. Just wrote, as you guys saw, we wrote one paragraph, dropped in a couple documents, and we should be getting back a full app. So let's check it out. Okay. All right. So it's creating those game detail models. So it looks like it is going pretty detailed. Got the character cards here. As you can see, all of the actual lines of code that are being created. And we can check over here and we can see the actual files that Replit has created for us so far. So you can see the source, index, all of this information here. And even it gives you little breakdowns here and comments. So this is amazing if you are a software developer and you use Replit just to get a foundation. And you can build on top of that. It gives you these little comments so you can see what's what. And it just adds in some really, really amazing features. Replit in general is really amazing. Another problem that a lot of software developers get when you're working on a project, you're creating an app or something like that, it can be very difficult to build on someone else's work. If, say, for instance, I made a website and then you came in one day and you were looking to add on to that website, or you were just replacing me at a company or something along those lines, these comments and everything like this aren't necessarily always there. There's something called spaghetti code, and spaghetti code is pretty much when someone was making an app and they didn't really dive into all of the organization that they should have. So when you read it back, it looks pretty much like spaghetti, right? All the different lines of code are all tangled together. But with Replit, you don't have to worry about that. It gives you great comments. You can actually highlight any portion of the code. Let's check this variable right here. You can just highlight that line of code, right? Say, for instance, if I was wondering what a constant app equal express is, I could just highlight that, right click it, click explain with assistant, and it'll give me a cool breakdown right here of everything related to what this line of code means and how that's valuable to us and how we will be able to change it, right? So even for this example, the provided code snippet is setting up a basic Express application in a Node.js environment. Let's break it down. This line creates a new instance of an Express application and assigns it to a variable app. Express is a web application framework for Node.js designed to build website applications and APIs easily. So that's really the beauty of it, right? So it doesn't even assume that you know what Node.js is. They don't assume you know what an Express variable is. It literally breaks down every single component. And you can see all of this information that was generated from just 3 lines of code. It gives you all of this. So if you're ever interested in finding out the details, or maybe Replit built something for you and you just want to know how it built it, or how to make things a little bit better, or how to replicate that without using Replit, you could just check out that that assistant function. It's really amazing. All right, so you can see here, it just requested that API information, right, for the OpenAI. So that's how we can add in that AI functionality so we can actually talk to these characters. So it was requesting an API key, and I provided mine already. So it just had that saved, just pretty much had to press OK. You can see here, it gives you a breakdown of how to get that information if you were missing that. I can see the app is running, but it has some issues. That's the beauty of Replit also, right? It checks for any problems from the very beginning before you even see the app. See, it's looking for other API keys now. We can just press OK here. So I'm using ROG API to get all the game information and TMDB API to get all the movie information, so we can get all the details about PlayStation we would ever want. And yeah, Another app being generated, 0 code required. Let's check out what they gave us so far though. It's just the beginning. It's only going to get better. So you see it hasn't pulled in these pictures, right, for everything yet, but you can see these little animation. Everything lights up a little bit in the background. That's really nice. I like the design choice it's going with. We can search different games. It hasn't added in the actual images yet. It will have images for all of these games, but for now, you can see a great amount of games are being pulled in. And we just dropped the API information, right? So it might not have processed that part yet. But we have the media section, and it'll pull in all the movies and TV shows here. We have that character section where we could talk to the different characters, right? So it's still loading up, but let's see if this portion is working yet. Greetings, I'm Kratos. What brings you to seek my counsel? Who is the strongest? Let's just ask him a quick question. All right, cool. So let's see if this works out for us. Okay, strength is a measure not just by physical might, but by the wisdom to know when to wield it. All right, cool. So basically, we have Kratos AI functionality from the very beginning. Haven't written one line of code. It's actually still creating the base for that app. All right, cool. So it looks like it completed that. You can see right here, any purple message means that it completed your request. PlayStation Ultimate app is running successfully. All API integration configured. Character chat functionality. Okay, so you see it has the 3 characters it added, letting us know in case we want more. All right, cool. So the foundation is decent. Let's check out if it added any more since we refreshed. All right, cool. So first thing we need to do is add in these correct images, right? So anytime we need to edit anything on the page, all we do, copy and paste, right? Just catch an image of what the problem area is, paste that into the chat, type in the words error with a colon, say we need the images updated to show the correct information. And I'll just let it know import from an API. All right, cool. So just letting it know, hey, we need this updated, import it from an API, so it should understand that we don't want these basic placeholder images. And I'm not sure if I covered this portion. I believe I did, but when we were making the PRD project requirement document, I did let it know not to use placeholder images. So it's still having problems with that. It does this every time, but once we make that request, it'll be able to update. But there's always little tweaks that you can do to make the program work a lot better from the very beginning. But I mean, it was able to add the AI integration in from the very beginning, so that's really nice. Yeah, see, she's from Horizon Zero Dawn, so it even gives you a breakdown of who they are, little details here. You could chat with them all in one page, right? We don't have to click individual character pages. It's all right here. So the media portion hasn't updated yet, but as always, we always want to go one page at a time. One page at a time. I love how this does this, right? We don't have to go to another page. It just gives us a little pop out with the shaded background. It's really clean. We can add the favorites. We can share that. So we have the AI integration already. We have the games showing up here. We can get more details for sure, but right now we're working on getting these images updated correctly. It's still loading up those changes for us. But yeah, once it gets those images updated, next step, we'll want to add a little bit more detail. All right, cool. The images are showing up now. Everything's looking nice. Everything's looking clean. Okay, load more. Let's see what happens. All right, so the load more game section isn't working yet. And it's saying sort by release date. I can tell it's already not sorted by release date from the beginning, even though it says that here. So we had to click off and go back. All right, cool. A to Z. Okay. Z to A. All right, so looks like the search function is working decent enough. All right, so we got role-playing games. Are these role-playing? Sort by release date. All right, cool. So these are role-playing games. Nice. And it shows different genres if it's more than one genre, which is really cool. It's giving you all of the games. We still need that load more. That load more button needs to work out. These bios should give us more information. Okay, so it's still loading up. All right. Still add more features in. All right, cool. So we're getting actual screenshots from the game down here as well, We want each of these to be clickable though, and zoom out, pop out really clean. All right, not too bad, not too bad. Less than 30 minutes in, this is pretty decent. All right, cool. So yeah, it's populating this information. This is clean. This is clean. I like these screenshots too. Looking nice. Let's see if the movie section is still loading. No, not yet. Not yet. Okay. We got Borderlands 4. All right. Yeah, this is looking okay. It's all right so far. So, first thing I want to do is update this background. Let's get this cleaned up a little bit. Okay. So, just gotta make sure this looks a lot nicer. Error. Change the background banner, or change the banner to show different games from PlayStation's universe. That are Sony exclusive. All right. All right, so just letting know to update that banner right here. We want this to look cleaner, show a couple different PlayStation characters, show different games from the PlayStation franchise on a carousel, auto rotating. Okay, that are PlayStation PC exclusive. Okay. All right, so since PlayStation's been adding some games to PC, I'm gonna just note PlayStation and or PlayStation / PC exclusive, right? Just want to make sure it catches the correct games. Some of the games are PlayStation icons like Ratchet and Clank or something like that, but they're also on PC. So we just want to make sure it gives us some nice looking games up here. Display really clean, auto rotating. Should be really clean there pretty soon. Let's let that load up, and after that need to add some more features here. It's giving us some great details, but each one of these should be clickable. We want to have links where you can purchase the game, and we want links where you can play the game using PlayStation Now, right? I want people to actually be able to use this website to play PlayStation games, and we need links to all the movies, all the character portion. This is working now so far. We can chat with the different characters, but we need to make sure we have a good range of characters and clean this up. These images aren't updated yet. It's a couple features we can add in. It's a couple features. See this background, right? This is looking nice so far. Okay. All right. So this is perfect. This can be resized a little bit, but let's see what else it's got going on. Yeah, it's still loading up, so let's not jump the gun on this one yet. I also noticed this portion right here is it's a little bit too blue. There's no shader in the back or anything like that. So yeah, we need this a little bit cleaned up. We could actually use Photoshop, edit an image, remove the background of some iconic character and put that in the background. But so we might want to do that. But also always trying to do everything 100% using AI. So try not to make any manual changes. Okay. So see this portion, this is a little bit related to psychology in general of advertising. People that can't see your face, when people can't see your face in an image, it lacks trust. People are less trusting when they can't see the face of the image. So we definitely want to get that updated. Okay, so looking right here, when we zoom, when we change the ratio, it looks a lot better and it's showing the full image. So that might be something that, maybe we could tweak that a little bit, but for now that looks pretty good. All right, so it has the ratings here. Okay, has the year. Let's check it out on the main page again. And if you ever are working with Replit and you need to see it on a different browser screen, just click this little arrow here. It'll pop out to another screen for you. All right, so yeah, this is looking decent so far. Okay. So these are clickable. but they're just not responding yet to anything. All right, so looks decent so far. Explore now. Scrolls down, learn more. See, it should link to these actual games. All right, that's another quick feature we got. So I'll just, again, take a screenshot of this page. We circle up these areas where we want edited. Error. The explore, or no, actually the learn more button. The learn more button should link to the actual game. All right, so just letting it know we need that learn more button to actually link to the correct game, which I can see why it doesn't yet, because these don't go to separate pages, right? These all stay on that same main page. So I'm not sure how it will link to that game, but can definitely find out. Or actually, it could just have this page pop out when you click learn more, right? We don't need to scroll down or anything like that. All right, so it's still making changes. You can see here. All right, nice, nice. So that has updated. When you click learn more, it goes right to that game. Nice, nice. Very clean, very clean. Okay. All right, so this is working pretty nice so far. This background is a little bit too simple for me, this lower portion of the background. So let me get this updated. Okay. I'll just note the blue background is too simple. Update it with a PlayStation branded background. All right, so I'm letting it know to update that. But right now, let me check out if we can find any manual image to drop in, because we might be able to just have an image that looks a lot cleaner on our end. All right, so this is nice, right? This is nice. This is clean. We could definitely use this. Let me think. Let me check out the page. All right, so they're all in that same lane of blue. I believe this looks really nice. All right, so you can see here that resolution isn't high enough yet. Let's check it out. Let's check it out. You can get this clean image in here though. This would be nice to drop in. All right, so let's download that. Okay, nice. So update it with the image attached. Okay, so all I'm gonna do is drop in that wallpaper image that we just requested to be added in. We already have a reference image here, and we have the wallpaper image here. Boom. And that should be able to get this page cleaned up for us really quick. All right, I'm going to step away for a quick second. I will be right back. Okay, we are back. We are back. So you can see here, page is failing to load. Looks like the changes were made. Let's see the results. Not seeing that up here yet. Not seeing that change showing up. Okay. So all we need to do now, we just catch a quick screenshot, let it know the background did not change. Very simple. And as always, these changes snowball. And by the end of this, we're going to have a really crazy, really advanced website. But for now, we just need to get the fundamentals out the way. So let me note the background was not updated. All right, nice. So just let it know that background is not updated. Should be able to get that resolved for us. Oh, I'm noticing. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, so I did drop in that background reference image. I see the background wasn't applied correctly. The issue is likely that the attached wallpaper asset isn't being referenced properly. All right, nice. So it understands where the problem is, right? The actual background image is not being referenced yet. And if we check here, notice how it says here, I need to update the background to use the correct asset path. Let me fix the CSS to properly reference the PlayStation wallpaper. And then you scroll down and it actually shows you this drop down, which gives you the lines of code that are being edited. So if I wanted to manually edit this background image or make any other changes or add an animation, or I'm just curious about how they're designing the page because I want to make another page close to it, or I need to explain this. A lot of times when you're coding, you need to explain different portions of your code to other software developers. So these drop downs definitely help out a lot. And you can see even the references here, background size, cover. These are the different options for the background sizing for different screen sizes, right? So on your phone, it'll look a little bit different than it would on your computer. And these are the different aspects that edit that. This is the actual image that we gave, right? You can see it right here. This is the URL that it's referencing, and yeah, gives you some good details. And even if we wanted to just double check what this means, we could right click this. Oh, actually, it's not letting us do this here. So we would have to go into the actual file over here. But like I showed before, and I'll just give a quick reference, you can always right click from the actual file and click explain with assistant, and it'll give you a nice little breakdown of exactly what you're working with. All right, so let's check it out. Okay, so I'm seeing the PlayStation background. I am seeing that PlayStation background. Nice. Perfect. This looks really clean. You can see it faded out over top. It added that frosted design on there, so it looks really clean. All we're seeing is these PlayStation icons in the back. So it's not, you don't want your background to be too overpowering, but you also want it to be a nice addition, right? So we have all the games PlayStation related showing up. Okay, each of these populating perfectly. We can sort by genre. So we have role playing, adventure, shooter, action. All these different genres of games are showing up correctly. Looks nice. Okay. And so now we need this media portion updated, right? We do have the character portion. This is waiting for us. It has AI integration. How does the website look so far? All right, let's ask Kratos what he thinks about the website. Let's check it out. I have no eye for observing such things, but I can offer this. A website, like any venture, must be built with purpose and clarity. All right, so maybe we should edit this a little bit to make sure Kratos doesn't know about websites and the internet and everything. Or maybe, I don't know, man. I'm not even really sure when that game takes place, so might make sense. Yeah, I do want this drop down a little bit, but these are different aspects that we can always add later. I am working on a plan to integrate this app with the Nintendo app, with the video game general app, add in the Xbox app, things like that. Just combine all of these into one amazing platform. So if people want to go check out any video game information, they can find it all in one place. I think that would be really clean. All right, so these are working well. Let's add a couple more features though. This load more games button doesn't work yet, so that will be something that we can touch on. But for now, let's just do a quick edit and make sure that these screenshots are showing correctly. Once we click that load more games button and that loads in more games, we're now adding in a whole lot more information, right? So we want to make sure that information comes in designed correctly before we just start adding in more features. Always got to start at the bottom and work your way up. Okay. Okay, so I just let it know error, these images. Make sure, let me see. So let me actually get a better screenshot just to make sure. Okay. So I'm gonna copy the whole page. Circle this portion of the actual screenshot. Okay. Get that updated. These images at the bottom of each game. Just knowing this is a screenshot. These screenshot images at the bottom of each game should be clickable to expand larger. Okay, cool. So just letting it know each one of these images should be clickable where you can get a better view, right? Because what's the point of having these screenshots here if you can't actually see them, right? Okay, so we have ratings, platforms, breakdown. Okay, screenshots here, add to favorite, share. Should have a, I want to add a play now. All right, let's check that out. Let's see if that worked for us. Oh, it's still loading up the change. Okay, so we can add a play now button here where we can play the game through PlayStation Cloud service, and we can add a play now button, and we can add a purchase button where you can buy the game and a link to a game store or something like that, maybe Amazon. We can go from there. Check it out though. But this is only the one page, right? We still got the media page, we still got the characters page. So, and I want live news feed for each of these games. So I think that'll be very valuable. And just another aspect we didn't add yet. We didn't add this aspect to. All right, nice. See this? This looks really clean. Really clean. All right, so next thing, we want arrows where you can scroll through each of these different screenshots. So you don't have to just click out. Okay. Okay. All right, I'll just note once the screenshot is full screen, add arrows on both sides and allow them to work as a carousel. To scroll between the screenshots. All right, so I'm just letting it know now. These screenshots are showing up nice, right? Looking pretty clean, but I want these to work on a carousel so we can scroll between them. And we don't need to add the extra button clicks, you know. So each of these loads up fine. All right, cool. Images show up, but all right, still loading up these changes for us. Okay. Yeah, just trying to add a little bit more functionality in here. A little bit higher quality. All right. Let's see what we got. All right, it's loading up. Still loading. Still loading those changes. Okay. All right. So I'll update the expanded image model to include the carousel functionality with navigation arrows. Okay, cool. So it's updating, it's making those changes for us. It's nice. Okay. So it's adding keyboard navigation. So that means we'll actually be able to click the arrows on our keyboard as well. It's not just manually clicking. All right, now it's testing. Let me test the enhanced screenshot carousel functionality. So it's going through all the processes. Nice. All right, let's see the results. All right, cool. Check out how that went. All right, still looks like it's might have broke. Yeah, might have broke that page. All right, so looks like that is not giving us what we were looking for. Get that back out. Try a different game. Yep, okay. So all we gotta do is catch that screenshot really quick and just let it know that we're getting an error. It's not functioning correctly. So catch that screenshot, paste that here, error. This message shows when I attempt to click the game. All right, nice. So just letting it know there's an error showing up when we try and click the games. It should be able to get that fixed for us pretty easy and get everything updated. But we made a ton of progress so far. Less than an hour in, and we already got a pretty decent website so far. We got this background showing up clean. Each of these games, still working on getting that functionality added in, but have this decent carousel here. Scrolls through a couple of them. Okay. The sorting system was working. Let me wait for this to load up the changes before we update whether that is still functional for us. But like I said, the goal of this one is, since we already have the AI aspect in, we need to get these movies updated. We have the video game portion showing up nice. We just need to clean this up a little bit more. And we want to add in current PlayStation related news on a scrollable timeline, like a blog or Reddit would work, right? Okay, so it said it fixed those changes for us. If this doesn't work, we might just roll back and move on. Yeah, let's just roll back because you don't want to get too deep into these. I could easily see this becoming a big problem if we keep making changes, because the danger of working with AI on situations like this, everything might work fine, right? But once you get that small issue and you try and fix it and it isn't able to fix it and you try a couple of times, that's getting into dangerous territory, because what a lot of people don't realize is every time it tries a new change, it's making a change. Even if you're not seeing a change on your end, on the AI's portion, it is making a change, right? So it's easy for that AI to get caught in the weeds of the changes it's made. So you might try the same change 50 times and it might just be doing a lot of things that you're not noticing. But on your end as a user, we actually do notice the change and the amount of credits that we have left, right? Like, it actually costs real money to make these changes. So it's always a good idea to step back sometimes when the AI isn't giving you what you want in a simple way, right? Like, if this was a complicated change that was required, then we would definitely dive a lot deeper in and work on getting that fixed. If I wasn't live streaming these apps being created, I would definitely just research the change and maybe manually make that happen. But in this situation, it's no big deal, honestly. You can still click each of these games, click the picture, okay? So you got to click X to get out, but it's no big deal. All right, so now let's add in a purchase option. We want each of these games to be purchasable. So let me click this, error, add a button next to, all right, share. No, actually it should be in the front. Yeah, next to add to favorites. To purchase the game from Amazon. All right, nice. So, and I'm just go with Amazon because Amazon gives people reasonable deals. I feel like that's a one-stop site. We could add a drop down with multiple stores, but for now in this situation, I think Amazon will work perfect. Once we get that in, let's check. All right, cool. So these are still sorting. All right, A to Z. Let's check it out. Sort by rating. All right, nice. Everything's showing up correctly. Let's check out these images here. Haven't checked this game yet. It looks perfect. Okay, this is working all right. It's working decent so far. Diablo, you can see it's added in the Amazon game portion right here. All right, still loading up those changes. Let's let it do its thing. Okay, so we click Warframe. What's this doing? All right, so looks like it did just search Warframe PlayStation game. Warframe is free. So that didn't make any sense for that game, but let's check out a different game. Let's check out Elder Scrolls. All right, buy on Amazon. What are we getting? Nice, right here, Skyrim, first thing, pops up. All right, cool. So that works for us. That worked for us, and let's get this media portion cleaned up. We have the AI portion though, so what is your favorite game? Let's ask Kratos this, just make sure it's still working. Okay, so we got the AI, we got Kratos. Let's see his favorite game. All right, never been indulging in games for leisure. My life has been about serious battles, each with its own purpose. However, if you speak of challenge and resolve, greatest game is the one that life presents every day. Wow, all right, cool. So Kratos is there. We got the AI function. We got to get these movies updated, though, in these video games. Well, actually, before this, we got to make sure this load more games portion is in here. All right, so it's the next feature we're adding in. Just got to catch a screenshot of that actual button. Then I'm going to catch a screenshot of the whole page so it has a good reference. And I'll say the load more games button is not functioning correctly. Error. The load more games portion is not working. Let me just say button. As always, really good to be specific with Replit. All right, cool. So yeah, the media portion, we're going to get this done next. And then we're going to add that news portion where you can have a Reddit style current news for all PlayStation related material. And then we're going to add the PS Now section where you can play the video games from here using PS Now. So let's go. Let's go. It's looking pretty clean so far. I love the design of this. I love the design of this. It's easy with PlayStation because they have such a good design from the beginning. Right? But yeah, everything's working pretty nice so far. Okay. All right, let's check out that change. See. All right, what do we have? Update the components. All right, it's still loading. It's still loading up those changes. But for now, the sorting works well. Carousel, we can add a couple more on here, but it's working fine so far. Background look clean. All right, we need these images. This whole page needs to be updated, but for now, got that basic function working, so we're good. All right, cool. So it's saying, so it should give us some baseline games, right? We don't want it to just populate blank before we click load more games. Okay. So what is it giving us when we click load more? All right, so it is loading more. All right, it is loading more. That's working. That's working. That is working. All right, so I would like it to automatically load in games as we scroll down the page. All right, so we can work on getting that edited. But for now, this is looking clean. This is looking clean. We can always sort by A to Z. Okay. So all I'm going to do is say load 4 times as much games when the user clicks load more. Okay. So each time, okay. All right, that works. So I'm just letting know we need to load more games up. We need to load more games. It's not giving us enough. Not yet. But after this page will be, I mean, it'll be pretty great. Pretty great. We have the favorites. We can buy the game. Has the share button on here, which we can work on adding little things like that later. That's not a big deal. We're trying to get everything that we need in here as fast as possible with 0 coding. All right, still loading up. It's working on getting those changes done. I can see the server already supports page size. All right, cool. So it's understanding the request and it's building on that. Let's see what we get back. Let's see what we get back. All right, so looks like that change was made. Let's check it out. All right, so it's giving us a good amount of video games, but we have to scroll to the top every time. I don't like that at all. So I'll just say, make sure we do not automatically scroll up. Page every time the user clicks the load more button. Okay. All right, nice. So just letting it know we need to prevent that scroll up, and this should be good. Yeah, so I like how it's working so far. And we could work on adding an auto load mechanic where the more you scroll down, the more it loads up. We could also add different banners for different games, a lot bigger in here. There's a couple of design choices we could add in, but for now it's looking pretty decent. What's our time at? So we're like a little bit under an hour so far. Pretty decent. Pretty decent. All right, so let's see. All right, cool. Let's check it out. All right, still working on getting that change done for us. All right. So we also need to make sure it loads up with a reasonable amount of games automatically. Definitely don't want to have to click that. All right, nice. So it got that fixed. All right, still loading up though. Still loading. Okay. All right, so we can scroll down, and the first time it's still popping up. Let's see if we can get it. No, it's still loading up the whole page. Yeah, that is something that we could tweak though, for sure. Let me check out the action page. Maybe it's just that one section. No, it's still not getting that correctly. Okay, so we could still work on building that up, but for now, honestly, let's get this movie section fixed up. We can always clean little things like that up later, but I'm trying to just get as much as we can done as fast as possible. Okay, add in the movie section, or add in the media section. Add in the media section, organizing all movies and TV shows correctly using the TMDB API. Using the TMDB API. Okay. All right, nice. So drop that in. We should be getting these movies updated pretty soon, and the TV shows as well. So this whole page, we just pretty much want this populated like the game section, right? So can make sure that looks clean. This iconic PlayStation character section, I like this so far. We can just add more characters here, clean these images up, maybe add some more features, but I'm trying to get that media or that news portion in here so we can get current real-time PlayStation news pulled in, because I think that's just really nice, really valuable. A lot of people use Reddit and things like that so they can get current PlayStation news. So we have all of that in one place. It's another value to the website. All right, let me fix the media route to properly handle the case when no type is specified. Should show both movies and TV shows. All right, cool. It's building that for us. Okay. And when I make these requests, you always want to call out the API you want to use. That just removes a little bit of trial and error there. Let's check things out though, see if it's still working. All right, learn more still works. Explore now gets you down here a little bit. Okay. Yeah, that loading can definitely be updated, but everything else is looking very smooth. We could also turn down the shading on here. This is very blue. Makes it so that these images pretty much can be kind of invisible a little bit. So gotta update that a little bit, but for now, I'm liking it so far. Even little things like each of these should kind of move a little bit. When you go here, they kind of jump off the screen slightly. Definitely got to add that in, but let's see if this movie section is still loading. Okay. Let me test out Nathan Drake though. What was your craziest adventure? All right, let's make sure he works too. Okay. Kratos works fine. Wow, he gave us a whole book. All right. Oh, where to begin? I've been involved in some pretty wild escapades, but if I had to pick one, it might be the time I was chasing after the fabled city of Ubar. All right, nice. So it's referencing correct game information. This is valuable if you're playing the actual game, you can just ask the person in the game how you would do something. So it's a good way to get tips on the game in a fun way. All right, now I need to add the media detail models. All right, so it's getting these images added in for the movie section. Not seeing the updates yet. Not seeing the updates on the movie section yet, but yep, nice, nice, nice. All right, cool. So looks like the filter needs to be tightened up a little bit. Pretty sure Halo wasn't a PlayStation franchise, but this is okay. This is all right so far. So we got Gran Turismo, Uncharted. Okay, TV shows though. All right, we got Last of Us here, Twisted Metal. All right, so this is working. This is working. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use ChatGPT so we can isolate that actual list to only show us the correct movies and TV shows. So I'm just going to ask ChatGPT to create a list of all PlayStation movies and TV shows separately. All right. And we're always using the 04 mini high. It's just the best one to use because it pulls real information from the internet every time. So let's let that load up over here. And while that's loading, we could check out how this looks. All right, so yeah, this looks nice. This looks nice. The smaller the screen gets, the better it looks because it's always designed for more of a phone. But this looks clean. I like that. I like that. We just got to tighten up this list. And I'm using ChatGPT to get this list edited just so we can save data. And we don't want to confuse ChatGPT with something simple like this. So all we're going to do is, all right, so it has all of the films. And it has, all right, Ghost of Tsushima. All right, nice. So it gave us a list of all the media that we needed. We can just drop this list in here. Say, use this list as reference for the TV show and movie section. Hey, what's up, man? All right, use this list as reference for the TV shows and movies used. Only add these movies. Movie/shows, but use the TMDB API to pull the information. All right, cool. So with this, now what it's going to do for us is pull all of the movie information like it's been doing, but it's only going to pull information for the list of movies that we had, right? Because we don't want Halo in here. We don't want The Witcher on here. These aren't really PlayStation related. So, but it got some good stuff though. It got some good stuff. It's pretty decent. Resident Evil isn't really PlayStation either, but that works. We can keep that in here. They don't have that much movies really, but I'll update the TMDB API service to specifically search for the PlayStation. All right, cool. So it's working on getting that updated. And we can just clean up this AI portion. What is your craziest mission? Let me ask her a question really quick. Test her out. All right, it's still loading up. Still loading these changes for us. She probably gonna work, but it never hurts to test. What was your craziest app or craziest game mission? Just ask mission. What's the app about? So this app it's really cool. This is a PlayStation app, right? So basically with this app, trying to make sure we have game information showing up correctly. So any PlayStation related game, you can get a quick screenshot, you can purchase it, add to favorite, share. We have the movie section we're building up now. And we have a character section with AI, so you can actually talk to the characters from PlayStation franchises, right? So this is a cool way. Like if you're playing a game, it'll let you get information about how to beat the game or tips or whatever from the actual game characters. And you can ask them, maybe if you're playing a mission and something crazy happens, you can ask them about it. So, but we're also going to add a news section where you can get real-time PlayStation updates and everything like that. Yeah, just adding in as much PlayStation features as we can. The final goal, really get that PlayStation Now integrated in here so you can play your PlayStation games on this website with the cloud. Yup. And this is just one of the apps we're building today, trying to get at least 3 done today. All right. So, all right, cool. It says the media section was updated. All right, nice. So we got the correct shows and movies in here. Cool. All right, clean. So this is looking nice. Let's get this character section updated. Yeah, so each one of these can watch a trailer, find streaming. So that works. But let's get this character section updated for now. Add in a couple more characters in here and okay. Make sure each character uses the correct real picture image pulled from an API. Also add in 9 total characters. All right, let's get Spider-Man in there. Ratchet, Clank, Jack, Daxter, etc. All right, cool. All right, so now we're just making sure that we can get this page a little bit cleaned up. It has the AI. The AI works for us, but we can add more characters in here. We also got to make sure these pictures are showing correctly. The movie section, we can get a couple of these updated. This needs to be cleaned up. But yeah, it looks pretty decent so far. The game section, this is really the bread and butter. So this is looking nice. Really trying to get into that news section too, though, so we can get all the current information about PlayStation games showing up for us in real time. That'll be really clean. All right. And that load more games still scrolls up, so we got to get that fixed. But it gives us a good amount of games on here. It's looking okay so far. All the genres work correctly. Everything's smooth so far. Everything's smooth. All right, cool. So let's see where we're at. All right, it's still loading up. I need to replace the entire character array with non-authentic characters. All right, cool. So it's getting that updated for us. We could also add a section to say, is it going to be free to use? Yeah, so actually I'm going to give away all of these apps. I'm doing a 30-day 30 app challenge, so I'm just trying to knock out 30 apps in 30 days. At the end of the 30-day challenge, I'm giving away all of the apps that I make, all of the documents to make them yourself, everything for free. So 0 cost at all. Anybody will be able to use these or edit them to make their own. I'm giving away all the information, and I'm showing every step of the process on live. So yeah, definitely. All right, let me test the updated characters API. All right, cool. All right, so still loading up those changes for us. It takes a while sometimes when you make these, when you edit the page style. All right, so looks like it got the wrong images in here, so we can get these updated though pretty easily. All right, so, but the actual AI part still works, believe. Test that out. All right, we got. All right, nice. So the AI is still working. All right, let's ask, how do I beat your first mission on your first game? Oh, you say you don't really mess with this app. All right, I get that. So I'm really just trying to go through a range of different apps and different like some people might like some people might like others, but yeah, so far we built a video game app in general where it's pretty much like Steam. Gives you a lot of different features there. We got a movie app, an anime app, have Kai Cenat app where you could talk to Kai Cenat and it gives you all of his streaming information and all of his information from, well, you can watch his current stream on it. It gives you all of any video on YouTube that he's a part of. It gives you all of them. So even if it's not on his channel, you can see all of those. Yeah, we made a ton of apps so far. We have a legendary app where you could communicate with legends of the past and find good information on their backstories and everything. But yeah, we have a lot of apps coming up still too. We have a crypto trading app where you'll be able to track crypto in real time and get algorithms and everything like that. But yeah, there's a ton. There's a ton. There's a ton. Oh, you said voice acting or voice integration? Yeah, yeah, I do want to add voice integration, but the whole situation with us adding all of these apps in a day at most each, there's some features that just we're not able to get 100% in here, and things like voice features do cost extra money and things like that. So doing that 30 times will definitely be taxing. But the cool thing is after this 30 app challenge is completed, we're gonna double back. So whatever apps anybody loves, like you might not be as much of a fan of the PlayStation app, but you might like the Nintendo app or the movie app or the anime app, something like that. Whatever people like the most, we're gonna double back and we're gonna really flesh that out into a full product and make sure everybody can get like the best version of that idea. But we have so much coming up. Like even if you're not into games or movies or TV shows, we got a crypto trading app, a stock trading app, a money management app. We have a success app that gives you all like type of fitness information and different tricks and tips to win at life. Like we have a ton of things coming up, ton of things. A nostalgia app, you know, it's a ton of things coming up. So got something for everybody. That's at least that's the goal. That's the goal for sure. All right, so now we got Spider-Man, Ratchet, Clank, Ellie from Last of Us, Daxter, and Jax. All right, that's cool. That's cool. That's decent. So they didn't add in these images here. I noticed these platforms have a struggle with actually getting like single character images in here, but it's no big deal because all we really have to do is drop an image and tell it to change it, and ChatGPT will do all of that for us. So we just catch all of these 9 characters really quick, and we can get the AI to update all of these images for us. And the AI is smart enough where we just really can drop it in and it'll just do everything for us. We don't really have to give any explanation or anything really. Appreciate it. Oh yeah, yeah. So that's the thing. We can add speech for free, but I just want I want it to actually sound like the characters. I want it to sound like the real characters, man. But yeah, appreciate it, man. For real, appreciate you. All right, so Clank, got Jack coming up. Who else? Daxter and Ellie. All right, cool. Should be 9 total. Just gonna drop these images in really quick for each of these guys. All of these will be updated. Then we can move on to getting those other features added in. All right. Catch these. All right, so just let it know. Update Kratos. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, so the only reason I'm manually adding these images in really quick, because honestly, we've tried using the AI to pull these, and it's like, it's really just not worth it. It's not worth it. It takes 2 seconds to get all these dropped in really quick. And the AI it fights a lot on that side. Anything copywritten can give you some problems. You just got to know how to work around those. All right. You see here. All right, cool. We got Ratchet. Yeah, we'll be done with this in no time. All right. So now we need Clank and Jack and Daxter and Ellie, and we're good to go. All right. Agent Clank. Okay. Get that in here. All right, so let's get Jack. It's not using image from 2000. All right, let me see. Clean, simple. This works. Okay. All right, so Jack. Okay. Let's get Dax to update it. All All right. All right, now last one. Let's go. Let's get Ellie in here and we're good to go. We can move on, clean up that page a little bit, add more features. But yeah, I might be adding the voice for these characters. Really, just gotta work out what people really like so far. Ellie, all right, cool. You said what's the end goal? Yeah. So it's really cool actually. The end goal, like I said, once we get done with these 30 days, 30 apps, we're gonna go through, check out what people are interested in, combine certain apps like the movie app, the TV show app that I haven't built yet, but we're working on. That's in the pipeline. So movie app, TV show app, anime app, all of those can be combined into a super app, right? So if you like anime, you can go to the anime section, get a whole different experience. Yeah, so just really working on combining certain apps, the PlayStation, Nintendo app, the game app, and the Xbox app we can create as well. Put all those together. And yeah, just really just trying to make some cool stuff, really show people how to use these platforms, break it down. A lot of people haven't really been giving out this information, so I'm really just trying to let people see how cool this stuff is. Yeah, so it looks like it didn't update a lot of these images size-wise, so I'm just letting know. Resize the images, make sure the faces are showing. The AI is smart enough to see the faces and know if they're showing or not. To always show the faces. All right, cool. So all I gotta really do is copy this image. Always like to add in the URL just so we know the AI knows exactly where we're at. All right, resize the images to always show the faces. All right, cool. And this should be able to get those sides for us correctly. All right, cool. Like the movie app with swipe left or right like Tinder. So the movie app really is it's pretty much like a Netflix style app, right? But the beauty of it is it's not bound to Netflix, you know, so it gives you a wider range and it gives you more specifics. So any movie you go to, it gives you more custom pages. And there's a lot of other features that we're working on adding into these apps, but still working on creating new features that we can get in there and things like that. That's why I'm building all of these apps, because building 30 apps in 30 days, it really uses creativity, right? Like every day we're making a new project and finding out how to get new things added in, new cool features and changes. Each app is a little bit more fleshed out than the last. All right, so it looks like, yeah, it didn't catch the correct sizing on these images. All right, so it updated this, Crank, Daxter, Jax. So Ellie needs to get her picture added in and Alloy needs her picture corrected. So it's just 2 pictures. Let's get that really done, or done really quick. All right, cool. Alloy, Ellie. All right, cool. And knocking this out fast just to get this done for the stream, but definitely we'll be doubling back and editing these images, make them a little bit cleaner. Change Alloy image. Okay. All right, cool. So Alloy's image is updated. Now we can get Ellie's image updated. I never played this game, but she always looks like she's about to cry. Like, it's like, not sure what's going on there. All right, cool. So update Ellie's image. All right, cool. So those 2 should be done now. Should be done now. Let's check it out. Let's check it out. All right, so still loading. Alloy, it's a little bit cut off. Little bit cut off. I'm trying to get this news section in here though, so we can get that real-time news information added. Let me see. Still loading. Okay. Updating Ellie's character. Have a better face. Okay. Let's check it out. All right. Not sure where it's getting that picture from. Let's get this fixed. Using ChatGPT to generate face frame images of the characters. So we can do that definitely. And I would use, if I wanted to generate an AI image, I'd probably just pull up Stable Diffusion, get that edited a little bit. But the whole thing really, I'm just trying to, it's all about speed really with this challenge. I just want to make sure we knock out 30 of these in 30 days, you know. So there's a lot of features that we can get in. And honestly, it kills me. It kills me a lot of times just not adding in everything that we could, and getting, like, I would want this background to move slightly a little bit like the PlayStation homepage does. I would want, there's so many features I want to add in here. There's so many features I want to add in, but it's just trying to make things flow constantly and just keep adding new features along the way. After this 30-day challenge though, we'll definitely be going. That's the fun part really. This 30 days is to, like, basically it's building awareness and letting people know what's being worked on and allowing me to see what people really like, you know. But after this 30-day challenge, we're definitely going to go full-fledged into an app and get so much done, so much more done. All right, cool. So, but yeah, this has only been, this app today, this has only been a little bit over an hour, and we already have all of this completed. So it cruises pretty fast, and we have at least, goal is at least 3 apps to be completed today. So the ball's been rolling. All right, cool. So let's get this image correctly dropped in. Update Ellie image and make sure it is sized correctly. All right, cool. Let's see what we got. All right, so this should be updated. It's funny. We can get every game added in here, one button press. AI dropped in, one button press. But these images, AI seems to struggle sometimes. All right, so, all right, let's ask him another question. Just make sure he's still working. All right, it's still loading up. It's still loading. It said type it in chat. All right. All right, Ellie picture looking clean. Okay. A lot of progress. We're rolling. Definitely could update these images, but they look decent so far, though. They definitely look decent so far. Kratos and Alloy's images need to be resized. Okay. All right. Okay, so movies. Some of these movies, Ghost of Tsushima hasn't come out yet, so it's using that placeholder image. That's good to know there. And it doesn't have that. All right, cool. So let's get this news section in here though. Add a news section for news. PlayStation news. Okay. Design the page to look like Reddit/PlayStation. It should allow users to search by recent and popular news. PlayStation related. Okay. All right. Add a new page. Let me just specifically say page so it knows we need a new page for the website. All right, cool. So now we're going to find out what the AI is really looking for us to give. Might need an API key or something like that so we can get this more recent PlayStation news added in. But it should definitely be able to get that added in for us so we can get this real-time current PlayStation news showing up here. It's another feature to add in. These pictures and things like that, I usually would just want to tweak these till they're perfect, but like I said, we can always go back and add more features and tweak things slightly here and there. There's a couple of things that could be worked on though. One thing, when we click the load more games, it actually brings everything back to the top and you need to scroll back down. Gotta get that updated. Goal on this type of page is definitely just have it where you can scroll endlessly right. Maybe add some banners for different games to show up a little bit bigger. but the sorting and everything is working pretty fast. Not as fast as it could be, but optimization is always the last step. Also this is killing me right here. Definitely need these images updated. It's a couple features we can add in, but let's just see how far we can get now, man. As fast as possible. Fast as possible. Need that proof of concept in here. But like I said, after this news section, next step, want the PlayStation Now functionality where you can play PlayStation games from this app. That is the goal. You can already use these guys to ask some questions related to the games. Let me see. How do I get the hardest achievement in your game? All right, cool. Let's see if she can give us some information on how to play. All right, cool. It's loading up, loading up. All right. Earning the hardest achievement in my journey likely involves mastering combat. Okay. So it could be a little bit more specific. A few tips. See, if we gave it more specific information, they'd probably give us more specific too, right? But for now, it's rolling. It's rolling. They all talking the voices of the character and things like that. All right, so the news page is loading up. All right, cool. I like this. I like what it's going for with the look. Let's make sure it's able to pull that correct information though. That's really the value. Getting that correct info. All right. So let me reload that page. So I like how this section looks. Already noticed we definitely need this page to link correctly back to the other page. Oh, it's loading up. Okay. Loading up. All right. So this is rolling now. All right. All right, nice. Cool. So it's giving us correct, updated PlayStation information. All right. Reddit style. All right, these are not clickable yet. Not clickable yet. Okay. Still rolling though, still rolling. Created PlayStation news page with Reddit style design. Okay. So we want each of these to be clickable. All right, let's get that updated. The news page is not clickable. The news showing on the page or the news links. The news page's links are not clickable for each story. Okay, cool. All right, so I like the page design pretty much. Already noticed we need links to the main page, right? So it should have this section here still. This is a little bit lower than it needs to be. But yeah, we definitely need those links correctly showing. Okay. So this is a decent design so far. I like the classic Reddit format for sure. You can search the news. Let's see. Spider-Man. All right. Searchable. It's decent. I don't think it's pulling real news sources though. I think it might be just using placeholders. So let's see how we can get that real news source added in for these guys. Man. So goal is it's 12:30. Okay. So I want to wrap this up by like 1 so we can get into the next app. Trying to keep it locked into like a 2-hour window, something like that for sure. All right. So I fixed the news page to make all story titles clickable. Titles are now proper. Links. Okay. Let's check it out. Are they actually updated? Let's see. All right. Not working. Not working. All right. So now I'm gonna say, well, I could just say use a real-time news API, but I want to double check what the best API would be, right? So I'm gonna use Reddit and say, what would be the best API to pull real current news sources about PlayStation and add them to my app. All right, cool. So I'm just double checking like, hey, what's some good information we can add in here? Or what is a API that we can use to add good real information for these apps? So now we're gonna have that news source integration, and this will be a really valuable asset for the following apps that we have coming up in the future. All right, so newsapi.org. Okay, 150,000 news sources, free, 3,000 requests a month for development. Okay. So we get 3,000 requests a month, right? So that's something to keep in mind. Now we need to make sure that the API isn't being called every time we refresh the page or anything like that. We want to make sure that it's segmenting those calls so we can get the correct news updates. Maybe it'll update every 3 hours, right? Maybe every 3 hours or even 4 hours. Yeah, 4 hours, that'll be 6 times a day. So it'll last an extremely long time. And it'll keep relevant information, right? So most news sources for blogs or things like that don't really update every 4 hours. So definitely makes sense to me. Okay. And it has that free tier. That's what we're going with. Okay. And we got G News API, real-time and historical articles. Okay. Current news, real-time articles from a mix of mainstream, niche blogs. Okay, so it looks like this might have more specific information here. Okay, so we have an official PlayStation blog RSS. Direct feed of all PlayStation products. 100% free, no API key. Guaranteed official accuracy. All right, cool. So we're going to pull. All right, so update the news from official PlayStation blog RSS, and let's check out that other API. All right, so newsapi.org is another API that we'll use. All right, cool. So only pull from this API to update the page once every 4 hours. All right, cool. So we added in, let it know, only pull once every 4 hours, right? So want to just make sure that that is correct. And yeah. All right, so we can see it also created a database for us. At times, we'll have requirements that require a database, and ChatGPT or Replit will just add in those databases for us without any work needed. All right, cool. So now it's asking us for the API key for news.org. So all we need to do, as always, when we need an API call, it'll just break down exactly what we need to do to get that API set up. And it looks like we can just go to newsapi.org, sign up for a free account. Let's get that done pretty soon, and we should be good. All right, so this is loading up for us. Let's check it out. I've never used this. I made sure that this challenge has a lot of different features and functions that I haven't necessarily been familiar with, so I can learn in real time and show everybody the results in real time. All right, cool. So let me add in a couple of different details here really quick. Okay. Get this refreshed. Okay. So just adding in those different features. Get my information in here. Okay. All right. Cool. Let's see. All right, nice. So yeah, if you guys ever want to make this API for news information to be added to your website, all you need to do is go to newsapi.org. It'll Just pretty much ask you to create an account, username, password, or email and password, and it'll just give you the key. All right, so I got my key. Drop that right in. Click continue. All right, so now it should be that easy, right? Now we're going to have that news integration in here and can keep the ball rolling. Keep the ball rolling. Okay. All right, so implementing the RSS feed integration for the official PlayStation blog and news API with 4-hour caching. Nice. That means it'll only check for new data every 4 hours. Very valuable for us so that we can make sure this API key doesn't expire on us. You know, and you can see this is just straight, just imaginary news information. This is not real information at all. I have all these comments, but yeah, this is just pretty much placeholder image. So it is always good to note that Replit should not be using a placeholder. Should actually be pulling real information for us. All right, so it's 12:40. We have about 20 more minutes before we want to roll on to the next project. Trying to see how much apps we can knock out today. Our max is 3, so goal is at least 3. Goal is at least 3 at a minimum. So I'm trying to kind of keep things locked in a little bit as far as the amount of time we're going to spend on each individual project. Okay, loading up that change for us. Can see the news service is initializing and updating. Now let me check the current status and add an endpoint to show the news source and update information. Cool. Okay. Ball is rolling. All right, let's check it out. All right, so it looks like it hasn't updated those changes yet for us. It's still loading up. Okay, I can see the news source is now working and fetching real data from PlayStation blog RSS feed. All right, cool. So now we have 2 sources of information coming in, right? We have sources from the official PlayStation news, and we also have sources coming in from a news API that we built in. All right, cool. So summer game sale arrive. All right. So first thing I'm noticing, it's like, man, I want this to not actually take us away from the page. Can we get a pop out showing that information in here? So let me check now, say, because we got the correct information in here. These comments aren't real yet. Yeah, so the comments aren't real, but let's get this updated. Okay, so error when the user clicks the news, it should pop out in another window showing the information but not moving the user to a new page. All right, here's another cleanup that we can add in here. Get this a little bit nicer, a little bit fresher. Next thing we need to do, we need to add in the drop down to get back to the main page. But this is cool though. We have all the relevant PlayStation information showing up in here correctly. So this is really nice. Home page, we need these back. Definitely need to line these up correctly. For some reason, this one's a little bit dropped down. And it's giving us a whole different UI mechanic. It's interesting, but I like this design though. It looks like it updated the design. So we can just have all of them use this style of design. All right. But the game section is pretty clean so far. Not bad. Less than 2 hours so far. We got a pretty functional PlayStation website. It's looking nice. All right, so let me see what we're getting back here. All right, so created a new detail model that shows full article content in a pop-up window instead of navigating away. Cool. So we should get all those articles to pop out on that same page now. Let me see, it's still loading up those changes for us. All right, nice. So we got this right here. It gives us a cool little breakdown, and we can go ahead and view sources. So now we have an option where we can add in different chat mechanics and things like that, and share it. So it gives us a decent amount of features in here. That's clean. That's clean. All right, check it out. Cool. So it could use an image, but let's see if it has an image there. Yeah, nice, nice, nice. All right, cool. So now we have current updated PlayStation news source information showing up for us in real time. All right, so now we can add a chat component in there and comments and everything like that. But for now, let's clean up this home page. Make sure everything is showing up correctly. Okay. Error. Update homepage. Show all of the different tabs correctly in line. And make all of the tabs function the same as the news tab. All right, cool. So I'll just go back here, catch that screenshot as always. Set Control N. So all I'm gonna do is hover over the news button, Control N, so we can make sure we see that correctly. Boom, drop that in. So now it knows what basically, yeah, as always, the goal is to make sure that we have as much clarity with Reddit or Replit as possible. So yeah, I can see the issue. The homepage navigation shows different tabs, but they're not functioning correctly. The news tab is working as a separate route, but the other tabs need to function the same way. Cool. So it understands the request, and now it's updating that so we can get those changes that we're looking for. Clean. Man. Yeah, I like this so far. I like this so far. Looks pretty decent. Pretty decent. Yeah, it's a ton of features we can add in though, but I mean, you know, 2 hours. We're closing in. We got like 15 minutes left, so let's try and let's see how much more we can add in there in that time frame. Homepage, different tabs, but they're not functioning correctly. Okay. Okay. Looks like it's working out some issues in there for us. It's getting things updated. I mean, for 2 hours of work, man, functional PlayStation app, you know, I mean, like, I'm just saying, like, we have the games showing up here correctly, rating system for each of them showing up correctly. Each one gives you a cool breakdown. It lets you know where you can buy it, gives you a link where you can purchase the game. We have a movie section showing up, pretty nice. You know, now we got the news section added in here. So it's a lot of features we're adding in. This is only the tip of the iceberg. Still building, still growing. So now each of these functions correctly. Nice. The games button was red for some reason. So now that's showing up right. Let's see if it updated. Okay. So it looks like it changed this page design. Okay. Okay. So it looks like it changed the media page to reflect more like the news page. Let's check out the character page. All right, so this one is blacked out as well. So what we're gonna do now, gonna highlight the main page, right? The games page, and paste that here. Error. Make sure all pages maintain the same design aesthetic as the games page. All right, cool. So now we're just making sure that each other individual page uses the same styling as the home page, the games page. Yeah, it looks like this page adapted the style of the news section. And this news section is cool. It's nice. It's nice. Yeah, it's nice. I would like to have the comment section functional on here, right? And we can build a database, add these comments and everything like that. But that's something that we can work on another time, because I mean we're running out on that 2 hour window. We can definitely attempt that to get that added in. Let's just see what results we get here. And once this this app is done, We have another app coming up. I'm not even sure what the next app is, to be honest. I have no idea what the next app is, but we can find out. This was in replacing of the VR app that we were working on. So it's trying to pivot a little bit sometimes when things aren't as interesting. I was checking out the VR app and it seems interesting. I'm more of a futurist, and something like a VR app is cool to me because I see the potential in it. But looking at the user base, you know, creating these projects, you gotta check out the user base, and it's just like there's not a ton of people that would want to use VR related materials yet. The hardware is just not there yet. Hardware is just not there. All right, so it's loading up these changes for us. Let's see how this goes. Let's see how it goes. All right, let me fix the home page properly by creating a clean version. Okay. So it's saying it's fixing the home page. That kind of makes me think that it might have changed the page I didn't want changed. So we might need to go back on that. But let's check it out. I noticed the news page did not update. Huh. So now it's all right. This is the news page. Let's check it out. Home page. All right. No. All right, no. So all we need to do though, no big deal. Just need to roll back. Okay, let me see that rollback point. All right. So we have a rollback point here, right? Let's just go back there. Get this reset. Looks like it changed incorrect pages and it didn't understand the request correctly. But let's see if we can get that corrected. All right. Refreshing this page. Still loading up, still loading. Let it do its thing. Let it do its thing. All right, I finished reverting. What should I do now? All right, cool. Let's check it out. See what we got. All right, nice. So all right. So I'm just gonna make sure we can go step by step. Okay. All right, so I understand what the problem is. The problem is most likely Reddit or Replit. All right, so problem is most likely Replit was misreading when I said change the UI to reflect the news portion, right? It assumed that I meant the entire page. So I literally just meant the news icon here. So what I'm gonna do is, yeah, I caught that screenshot. All right, so now I'm gonna catch another screenshot. Oh, whoops, okay. Get that out of here. Now I'm gonna catch another screenshot highlighting the news button. So catch that. Okay. Error. Update this portion of the page to make the other buttons show similar to show in the same design. Show in the same design as the news button. Okay. Do not change other design aspects. Yeah. Only the header. Only the portion in the image. Just making sure this trying to line up exactly what I'm requesting. Make sure that's correct. All right, cool. So it's getting that updated for us. I can see the issue. The news button in the navigation should match the design of the other buttons. Looking at the images, news button currently has a different style. Okay. All right, so it should be getting that updated for us. I'm gonna step away for a quick second. Be right back. All right, back in it. So it looks like that change just finished loading. Let's check out the results. All right, so it didn't update the section correctly. All right. I'm gonna just note error. The news portion of the header is not the same as the other portions. All right, so just letting it know the news portion is different, so it should be able to get that updated for us. Trying to get as much features in here as possible with this 2-hour window, but this might be a good stopping point. We have functionality, right? We have the games in here, each one, screenshot showing up, cool. It's looking nice so far. We also have functional news showing up. Still working on getting that UI layered a little bit better. And I'm also, the plan was 30 apps in 30 days, right? But now my goal is, let me see how fast we can get these done. Let me see how fast we can get these done. Been making a lot of progress so far, and I just feel like we should be able to get things knocked out pretty fast. Fixed news button navigation style to match the other buttons. All right. The style is not the same, and it's not lined up correctly. But let me check if, let me check a private window. So maybe the page is caching. Maybe the page is just caching incorrect info. Check it out. Nah, see, yeah, it's still not lined up correctly. So error, the news portion of the header is offset, not in line with the other buttons. It also highlights differently when the mouse hovers over it. Okay. All right, so we were able to get a ton of progress in, but it looks like the little things are always the most stubborn. So just trying to get that news section of the header to line up correctly. And from there, I mean, we're at our 2-hour mark really, so it might be time to start that next app. I really want to double back on this one, but I feel that way every time, and it's just, we got to make sure we get as much of this stuff done as possible. All right, so it's loading up that change for us, and yeah, at 12:58. So yeah, we got 2 minutes left. Let's see where it's at though. Let's see where it's at. We can check it out. Check out all the progress we made. All right, cool. So now everything's functioning the same. Okay, cool. Looks nice. Got the TV shows and movies lined up correctly. So much more we could do for this one, but for 2 hours, ton of progress. All right, let's make sure everybody's still talking. Okay, cool. So each of these characters still has the AI functionality. We got the real news showing up for each of these guys. Got the pop-ups. So it's looking clean. It's looking clean. Tons of extra things that we can add in, but 2 hours is 2 hours. So yeah, progress. All right, so that app is done. Now we're going to find out what the next app is that we got on the way. Okay. We find that app tracker that we built. Okay. Where's that at? All right, so boom. Let's pull up the tracker app, see what the next app is that we're creating. Because honestly, I have no idea. So we can find out. Let's go. It's loading up. Loading up those changes for us. Okay. Let's check it out. All right, cool. So this would have been the VR app, but we switched it up, went with the PlayStation app. Feel like that was a little bit cooler. Now we have an art app. All right, cool. So this app is going to be very interesting. I'm very into art, trying to make sure we hit a wide range of projects to work on. So this is an art app, right? Should be pretty simple to build, but it's the quality, right? So this app, basically, the goal is to show high quality art, curated, have it be in a smooth cycle where you can just scroll through and you can see all these crazy, beautiful pieces of artwork all showing up in one stream. So that is the goal for this one. You can see here, digital art gallery with artist profiles and style analysis tools, artist database, artist style classifier, gallery management, and technique guides. Okay, cool. So that is the app. That's the challenge. And that's what we're going to be working on. Let's get the ball rolling. Let me see. Sorry, one second. Oh yeah, sorry, had that muted. So yeah, we are back in it. Second app of the night, and pretty much just creating that art app like I explained. It'll give you a lot of cool details and inspiration. That's the goal, really, just to be able to open the app, scroll through, see all types of amazing artwork, and get inspired. Get inspired. You know, we do a lot of video games and movies and fun stuff like that, but you know, I feel like it's always important just to have a good range and focus on a lot of different aspects and everything. You always want to be well-rounded. So elegant, swipe-driven art discovery app with full screen artwork viewing and sophisticated gold, black, white styling. Brand entrance screen with inner call to action, full screen artwork viewing experience, swipe up gesture navigation between artwork, tap gesture to reveal artist name and artwork description, smooth fade in out transitions between pieces, preloading of next artwork for seamless browsing. Curated collection of 20 high quality artworks. All right, cool. So ball is rolling. All right, so all we got to do is approve that plan and it'll start generating that app for us in real time. Okay. All right, so getting that generated really quick. All right, cool. All right, so it's called Creative Canvas here. You can see the details as we went through just now. It's loading up those changes, getting that base app generated for us. Always want to make sure we get a good foundation, right? Once we get that good foundation, there's so much more we can do. So much more we can have on top. My Netflix. Okay, looks like someone gave me a comment on one of my videos. My Netflix Twitch Mix app works on Replit, and I moved it to render servers. My issue is I can't get the app to build with all features. The Android Studio can't seem to connect with the render background to get it connect. Any suggestions? All right, cool. It's interesting. Okay. All right. So we got this app loading up for us. It's creating that foundation for us. As we can see here, all of these different files are being generated for us in real time. Let's check it out. So it's got the UI generated so far, hooks, pages, only one page so far, but it's still loading up those changes for us. Okay. All right, creating the hooks. Yeah, so it's still generating that page. You know, always takes a second to get things started well, but once things get rolling, it'll be pretty easy to get tons of extra features added in here and keep the ball rolling. Second app of the night. See what we get. All right, so creating the source page. Okay. Still loading up that foundation for us. Okay. That PlayStation app seemed, I don't know, it seemed pretty cool to me. Let me know if you guys got any extra features we should be adding to these projects, anything like that. Always trying to just make the best possible product for sure. So, all right, so it's creating those files still. Got the app file in here. All right. So far with the UI, it has artwork display and artwork overlay. Okay. Pages. We have an art viewer page, an entrance page, and a not found page. Okay. So it's rolling. It's rolling through. Okay. Creating .replit.md. Okay. Yeah, still getting those changes processed for us, getting that foundation. Once we get that solid foundation, we are going to be able to go crazy on this one. I love art, honestly, personally. I'm a big fan of artwork, so it's an app I'm going to be a fan of for sure. All right, so we got the Tailwind config file in here showing up. Okay. Yeah, it's going through the motions. As always, getting that process created for us. All right, so looks like it got a foundation for us. Let's see what we got. All right, cool. Art. Discover masterpieces from Renaissance masters to modern visionaries. All right, cool. Enter. Swipe up for next. All right, so it's not giving us the actual artwork yet, but we have a decent foundation, it looks like. Let me check this out on another screen. And maybe it might actually be generating the work, but I'm noticing here, it looks like there's an error. Let's check that out. Okay. React does not permit swipe. Okay, cool. So looks like there's a problem with the swiping aspect. Let's check it out though. Let's keep it basic. Error. No artwork is being displayed. Okay, cool. Start with a foundation. No artwork's being displayed. Let's see what we can get back from this. Okay, loading up that message. I see an error with the swipe handle prop and the artwork isn't displaying. Let me fix the swipe hook issue and check the artwork display logic. Okay, cool. All right, so it's getting that updated for us. Swipe up for next. All right, so that swipe aspect isn't working correctly yet on desktop. I'm going to pull this up on my phone also just to see if this does work on the phone side of things at least. So if you ever want to see what these apps look like on your phone, just click this little chain right here. It'll pull up a URL or a QR code and we can just scan that on our phone. Check it out. Just pulling that up on my phone. Just want to make sure we can let the app know it's functioning correctly on desktop, but it's not functioning on the phone or vice versa. Okay. So yeah, on the phone it's working. See here? Oh, it's not loading up all the images, but there was an image showing good on the phone so far. So it looks like The swiping is just broken on the computer side of things. So let's get that updated first. Oh, let me see. Okay. Okay, so when I click the image that would be there, it gives a breakdown of what the actual painting is. All right, cool. So let's just let it know the display isn't working, but I want to update it so that the swipe can be corrected first. Swipe feature is not working on desktop, but it does work on mobile. All right. Yep. So first feature we can note, swipe feature is not working on desktop, but it does work on mobile. So this is going to be a very direct app, right? It's going to show you beautiful pieces of artwork throughout history. And once you click them, it'll give you a good breakdown on the art. You can find similar art, things like that. It's really an inspiration app. So each time you connect to this app, you can just scroll through. If you're bored or if you're just not feeling as inspired, you might not be in a great mood, you can just go to this page, go to this app, and you just instantly inspired by the most amazing pieces of artwork throughout the history of mankind. Like instantly, everything's right in your face. So apps like this, it's not necessarily about what it has in it. It's more so about the design process and making sure everything is super clean and super valuable. All right, cool. So you can see scrolling works so far. It seems like some of them are working, some of them are not. Still loading up those changes though. Still loading. Okay. All right. Okay, let me check. I've enhanced the desktop navigation with these additions: mouse wheel, scroll support, scroll up, down to navigate artwork, keyboard navigation. Okay, cool. So should be able to press space bar to scroll through. All right, so it looks like it's locked up though. I see that 3 here, right? So 1, 2, 3, and it stops at 3. Okay. All right, so this is pretty nice though. Let's check it out. Leonardo da Vinci, The Last Supper, Renaissance mural. Okay. So this is not The Last Supper. All right. So now it looks like we need to find a good database to pull all of these different pieces of art. No big deal. So what we're going to do is go back to pull this up over here just in case. All right. So just going to pull up ChatGPT and request that list of artwork, or request an API that can pull the correct artwork for us. What API can be used to pull all of the famous art pieces throughout history and show them in our app? All right, cool. So just checking with ChatGPT, keep it simple, right? It's no reason to really do all this manual research. The whole point of this exercise is only use automated processes. All right, so yeah, saying that swipe mechanism was fixed. It does seem like the swiping is working better now. You can scroll one direction, can't scroll back up, and it stops at 3. So it's a little bit of progress there. Just want to make sure we get that correct API. All right, so let's check it out. All right, so here are several leading public APIs you can integrate to pull famous artwork, each offering extensive collections, metadata, and images. Metropolitan Museum of Art. Okay, 470,000 pieces of art. No API required. 80 requests a second. All data and high resolution images are in the public domain. Okay, cool. So these are all public images that we're able to use. 470,000, but there's 80 requests a second. So what we want to do is, let's just get the 1,000 best pieces of artwork from this API and integrate them all in at once. All right, so full Harvard Art Museum collection. All right, cool. So this is Harvard's artworks. And this has 800,000 plus high resolution pieces of art. Okay. Yeah, let's start with this one. It looks like we have some options. This Metropolitan Museum of Art Collection API does not require an API key. So that's beautiful. All right. Okay. So 80 requests a second actually. So we're fine. We're fine. Let's do it. So pull the artwork using API. Cool. So just let it know which API to use. Let it know we need to pull that artwork, and it should be able to process that request for us. Get things updated. All right, I'm integrating the Metropolitan Museum of Art Collection API to fetch real artwork data instead of using static JSON. Let me research their API and implement it. Okay, cool. So it's just loading up that request, pulling in that information for us. It'll get that updated, and we should be able to get a ton of art all dropped in here pretty much with no effort at all. So I see the creation of Atom by Michael. All right. Yeah, and it gives us these breakdowns. See, this is nice. This is nice so far. I love how these breakdowns show up. This is really, really cool. Really, really cool. I integrated the Metropolitan Museum of Art Collection API to fetch real artwork data. Okay. Now I'm implementing API. Okay, so it looks like it pulled the information in and it's adding it correctly to the app the way we would like it. Still loading up those changes. Okay. Looks like it's working pretty well so far. All right, so it's saying it's creating a hook to fetch the artwork data. Okay. Still loading up those changes. Okay. I'm excited to see how this goes. Okay. Looks like we got an error. You see how this ends up. All right, now I need to add loading states and handle the case where artworks are still being loaded. Let me update the component to handle the loading state properly. Okay. So it's adding a loading screen and handle the cases where no artwork is available yet. Okay, still processing, just making sure. Looks like with the amount of data that we have, it's just trying to make sure that it doesn't have any weird loading issues or incorrect viewing experiences for the user. App like this, I really just want to make sure that everything works 100% seamless and we never give the user any reason to just not be satisfied, you know. Such a simple app goal, it has to be perfect. This is nice. Okay. And then you can click each one of these images to get a good breakdown of what this image is representing. And you can just scroll. All masterpieces throughout history. 100%. Okay, so it looks like the sizing is not good, or not perfect, I should say, so far. Let's check that out though. I want to see what this looks like on a phone because this is the primary resource. Really, I really like this. All right. So it looks like it has 17 so far. Each one of these are extremely high quality images. Okay. It might be simple. It might be a simple project, but it's not about how difficult it is. It's about the value that it gives. And this is giving us artwork throughout all of history, all curated, very clean, very direct. How could you not get inspired by this? That's the real question. How could you not look at these pieces of artwork and not feel something? That's the whole point of art, right? Good art makes you feel. So let's see if we can add more features though. So add 1,000 artwork images. Okay. So instead of just 17, randomize the order and do not display the numbering up top. Okay. I don't want the user to be able to go back. I want them to just almost, if you swipe past this piece of art, you will potentially never see it again. I feel like that's a good value, and it keeps the users more immersed in the project. All right, so working on getting that change updated for us. Okay. So yeah, these are clean though, and it's extremely high quality. Extremely high quality. So all showing up perfectly. It's looking really nice. All right. So I like how this is going so far. All right, and it gives you a good breakdown as well of each of these unknown artists. Yanni and his wife. Yeah, this is clean. All right, so trying to see where we end up with this. Still loading that next change for us. All right, let me also adjust the artwork loading threshold to load more artwork earlier for better performance. All right, cool. So now it's optimizing things, making sure things load smoothly. You can see it remove that numbering up top. And we should be able to get a lot more pieces of art up here. It does have that different bar where it shows how far of progress you've made so far by scrolling. So that's cool. That's clean. I don't want any words showing up on the page. I don't want any distractions from the actual piece of art. Let's see how it loads. All right, loading artworks from the Met. Curating masterpieces. No artwork found. Okay, let's try that one more time. Loading. Okay. See what we get. All right, no artwork available. All right, so now it looks like that API call process changed. So it's not able to pull the right information for us yet. Okay, error. The artwork is not loading. All right, so I'll just let it know now the artwork is not loading. Just wanted to let it know artwork was working. Things were going fine. Now it's not. So be aware of that. I can see the artwork loading is failing. All right, so now it's just checking on how that loading method would work and get things updated for us. Okay. Okay. So it looks like the API is having some issues. So most likely, I believe the problem may be while the app was reaching out to get the information, it was pulling in, it was just calling too much. And there's a limit of 80 calls a second. So it might just be trying to process too much information at once. And now it's looking for a fallback method. So we don't need a fallback. We definitely want this artwork to be here. We don't want a fallback. Fallback method will pretty much be just a static image or just a generic image to replace the beautiful piece of artwork that this app is providing people. So we don't want that. All right, let me update the artwork hook to use expanded fallback data and proper error handling. So I would usually stop this now, but I've learned you don't want to stop Replit while it's making changes. You just want to let it kind of complete what it's doing before you make the next request. So still adding in a fallback system in here. Okay. I love the artwork that is pulling up though. The artwork is pulling up is really nice, really clean. Yeah, it's looking really, really nice so far. All right, let's check it out. Loading artwork from the Met. All right, so still not able to call correctly. It's just giving us a no artwork available. So let me try and dig a little bit deeper into what might be causing these issues for us. It's always good when you're using Replit, be precise with your changes because any mistakes that you make can potentially break more than you realize. All right, let me create a comprehensive fallback system. Let me update the artwork hooks. Okay, now I'll test the application to ensure fallback system works properly. Implemented a robust system to handle the Meta Museum API outage. Automatic fallback to expand artwork collection when API fails. All right. All right. So just let it know it's trying to load again. It's not going to work. Okay. So we're seeing these errors here, right? So it's actually letting us know the problems. So let me just copy this message here. All right. So paste that error message in here, error. I'm also going to show that no artwork available image. So it knows exactly what we're seeing and the error message as well. Error, the artwork is not loading. Make sure to cache the images and do not ever show a fallback image. Do not ever show a fallback artwork. The artwork does not load. All right, let me note the message as well. And this error message is showing. It's showing in the console log. All right, nice. So I'm just letting it know what we're experiencing. Always good if you get an error message to post that exact error message. I can see there's a maximum update depth exceeding error. Okay. API is still failing. Let me fix this by simplifying the approach. Okay, nice. So it's looks like it's trying to update the way that it's calling the API, but it's always very, very, very important to be mindful when you're using APIs that actually cost money or have a max for the day, right? So this API, 80 calls a second, no limitation, no key needed, but some APIs do need a key where you get limitations for the day. Also, some other APIs like OpenAI's API, that costs real physical money. So always good to know what you're doing when you're working with these APIs, and always good to put in some measures and security so you don't overuse your budget. But this isn't a problem with budget because we are working with a free API. All right, cool. So it's loading up, processing. Everything is super high quality, extremely high quality. And we got this loading. Let's see how far it goes though. Okay, so let's see, a load of more artwork is showing up down here. Okay. I like it. I like it. Simple, but it definitely does exactly what it's supposed to, right? Each one of these pieces of art, all right, it's still loading up the changes. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's still loading. It's still editing. Looks clean so far, though. The high quality of this artwork is really, really nice. Really nice. And a lot of people, when they're making apps and things of that nature, people get caught up in trying to make the most complicated project or the most advanced features added in. But you got to look at Steve Jobs and what he did with Apple, right? Apple doesn't make the most powerful pieces of technology. What they do is they curate their technology in a way that makes the average user comfortable using it. So you need to make sure that your app is comfortable to use and gives everybody exactly what they need. DoorDash doesn't let you fly a jet engine, you know, like it just lets you order food, but it just does it well. So trying to make sure that this app works correctly. All right. So getting another error message here. No problem. We are a lot closer. Everything was working. Looks like it was making changes throughout the process. So let's load that back up, refresh the page, check it out. Okay. Page is still not loading. User clicks enter. Okay. Page is still not loading when the user clicks enter. This is the new error message. Okay. So just basically letting it know page isn't loading and showing a screenshot of the actual error message that's popping up for us. All right. I see the issue. There's an is loading more variable not defined. Okay, cool. So it looks like there's just a variable that needs to be called out or fixed or edited, something along those lines. But it's going smooth so far though. All right, let me check the application, see if it loads properly. Okay, nice. Second app of the day. Pretty smooth. All right, I fixed the is loading more error by adding all references to old APIs. Okay. Huh. So, yeah, it looks like these pieces of art are not loading up now. Okay. No big deal. Just gotta let the program know the artwork is not loading now. No, artwork is stuck in a loading loop. Cache 1000 images to prevent loading issues. All right, so I'm just letting the program know cache 1000 images so that we don't have to worry about the loading problems, right? So that'll mean every time this app processes, the first time you connect, it'll take a while, pull tons of images. But after that, there will not be any more issues with the loading because it'll already have those in storage. So like I said, this app, the key is functionality, smooth, direct. Definitely want to clean up some of the different features like the swipe up for next. This could be a little bit cleaner. Don't want to distract from the artwork, but a couple more little tweaks here. But with this one, it'll really be more just making sure the functionality is nice. Okay, this piece of art always loads. I've noticed I'm using placeholder data instead of authentic artwork images as requested. Let me fix this by using the original artwork JSON file. Okay, so just going back, trying to find a middle ground between the changes that it's been making so far. We had it working for a second, but it looks like it just kept going with more changes after it was functional. Okay. So it's trying to get things updated for us. Okay. Let me continue fixing artwork, URLs, replacing more of the falling back. All right. Still loading up these changes for us. Let's let it do its thing. Man, I really like this app though. It's the simple app sometimes really just add a lot of value. All right, let me fix the expanded artwork file. Okay, still loading up these changes for us, still getting these processed. All right. So yeah, let me know if you guys have any specific apps that you think I should be building or anything that you think will be interesting. Trying to keep a good balance. A little bit educational here, a little bit of fun and games there, you know, trying to just keep things cool and well-rounded. All right, now I have authentic artwork images from Wikipedia Commons, which are reliable and load properly. Okay, let's check things out. So it looks like it's going with a different API now to get these images for us. Huh. Yeah, it seems like, yeah, some of these aren't loading up correctly though. And I like the previous API images. They were really nice. So let's check it out. Yeah, some of these are not processing though. And it's still loading it's taking a while to load up. All right, so we got to get this updated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to a previous point. Keep the artwork page from displaying loading indicators indefinitely. All right, cool. So let's see where we were at. Let me go back to a good point. Show local stored art if the museum's online collection is unavailable. Okay. All right, so trying to get back to when this was working well. All right, so I'm just reverting back to a previous point in the app because it seems like Replit is just not processing correctly the request that we are looking to make. I also have noticed with Replit, the more you use it consistently, the more errors it seems like it brings up. Like when I've been consistently using the same, working with Replit over and over again for the same day, I've noticed some problems showing up. Okay, now yeah, it's back functional. All right, so yeah, this is where we were at originally. This is really nice, really clean. Looks like we just got to increase the range that it processes. It only has 19 here. Okay, let's just incremental this. Increase the amount of artwork from 19 to, let's say 50, just to make sure this works. And then we can increase to 100, and then 200, and then 1,000. All right. Let's get that added in. Start it here. Okay. All right. So increase the amount of artwork from 19 to 50. Okay, cool. Let's see what we get back. I can see the app is working, showing 19 artworks. All right, cool. It's processing that request. All right. So I got to order some food really quick. It's still loading the change. Man. Yeah, it's always interesting what Replit has problems with and what it does extremely easily. So yeah, it's loading up those changes. Let me get some food really quick. Ordered. Okay. Yeah, so this one's pretty simple, but I'm not sure what the next one is, but they'll be arranged. This is probably the most straightforward app that we've built throughout this challenge. But honestly, I mean, I like this is one of my favorites, to be honest, personally. I really like this a lot, and I think it's very valuable and very useful. Simple, but sometimes the simple ones are the ones that are the best. All right, so it's including the load more artwork function properly. Okay. All right, still loading up that change for us. Let me see. Okay. All right, so still loading up those changes. I'm gonna let it fully process that request. All right, so real artwork data from the Met Museum. No more placeholder images. Increased artwork pool to 150 plus. All right, so we only asked for 50. No artwork available. It's interesting. All right, so I want to see what changes it's making and why is this causing issues for us. It's not giving us that breakdown. Okay, so I'm gonna actually revert back. Yeah, I'm gonna revert back. Seems like it's glitching up. I don't know why, but whenever like I said, whenever I use this program for an extended period of time, consistently, it seems like it has a lot more bugs. This is a very simple request, but for some reason it's unable to complete that request correctly. So let me see what we got. All right, loading artwork, curating. Okay. That's interesting. Okay. Increase the amount of artwork to 25 instead of the 18 showing. All right, so just trying to increase a couple more. I also noticed it's 18 here, but it was 19 last time. It's weird. That's very, very interesting. So let me see if we can get this done. Just wanted to smoothly see. There's an infinite loop in the use effects that's causing the maximum update error. And we need to increase the artwork count. Okay. So it looks like it found a different issue that was behind the scenes. Even though we're reverting back to a previous point in time, Replit is still remembering all of the requests it makes before we roll it back. So it's maintaining that information, and it should be understanding more about the issue that's showing up, even though we reverted back to a previous state of the app. All right, let me fix the infinite loop issue and improve the artwork fetching. Now let me also improve the artwork fetching method to get more successful results and increase batch size. Okay. Update the batch size calculation, improve the artwork fetching, get closer to 25. All right, nice, nice. We're only 40 minutes in though. We're only 40 minutes in. See, I'm noticing right here, it's saying it's trying to get the artwork to 25 plus. So if this doesn't work, I'm trying to limit it to a max of 25. I don't want it to just, it looks like the amount of pieces of artwork it's trying to call is a part of the problem. And it might just be overloading the API. Let me test the updated application, see if we're getting more artworks. Okay. It's testing that change for us. Let's check it out. No artwork available. Nope. All right, so I will try this one more time, and then I'm just gonna let it know, don't change anything at all, just increase the amount of artwork loaded, because it's loading for the 18 perfectly fine. So error, the artwork is now not loading. Revert any change made that was not related to increasing the amount of artwork shown to be exactly 25. Not more than 25. All right, so now I'm just trying to be as specific as possible. I'm letting it know, revert any changes that are not allowing specifically 25 pieces of artwork to show up on the list. Because once we can get 25, that means we've been able to increase the list. We can incrementally just work on increasing the list from 25, but it was calling out a loop issue or some other feature that it was saying is causing an issue, but seems like whatever else it was trying to fix outside of the exact request was causing us problems. Let's check it out. Runtime error. Plugin is loading artwork is not defined. So it has a variable created that's not being referenced. Is loading more variable is not defined. So some change that it was making, most likely in my experience, I would assume the is loading variable was a part of that loop that it noticed, and removing that loop broke the app. All right, so now I'm seeing the max is showing 20 here, not 25. And these pieces of art aren't loading for some reason now. It's very interesting because this is a very, very simple app compared to the other ones we usually make. And for some reason, this is the one that's causing issues for us. Let me test the application now to confirm it's working with exactly 25 artworks. Okay. So it's still loading. Still getting them changes done for us. Let's see what we get back though. Okay. All right, so it's saying got that done for us. Let's see. Artwork is not loading now. It's only 3 of these. Yeah, it only goes up to a max of 3 now, and the artwork is not loading. So yeah, I'm not sure what it did. Let's try and get back to that previous point in time again. Display more artwork. Okay, so this is the previous change we were at before any rollbacks. Let's go back here. Make sure this works. Let's try one more time to just increase the amount of art. This is really interesting. I'm not sure why this is causing a problem. I feel like, okay. So it's giving us another error here. Let me try and get back to that previous rollback point where we were at. Successfully updated the Metropolis Museum. That's the 150. Okay. Okay, embedded, enabled artwork navigation using keyword mouse wheel. All right, so this should be where we were at, where it was working. Okay. Yeah, it's really, it seems like it's just having an issue with the API is not registering correctly with the app for some reason. Yeah, now it's not showing up the correct, Honestly, I almost want to restart this project because I feel as though, I feel like Replit is just not really giving us a fresh take on this app. It's just pretty much caught in a loop with its own mistakes, and the deeper you get into these, it can be difficult to interpret exactly where the problem is rooted at and working on getting a solution. Solve loading issues. Okay. Ensuring visual assets are displayed correctly. Keep the artwork page from displaying loading indicators. Indefinitely improve loading of artwork. Show local storage art if museum's online collection is unavailable. Showcase more artwork and create smoother browsing. Display famous artwork fetched directly from it. All right, so this should be the rollback point. Let me try a preview of this rollback so we can make sure this is working. Let's make sure this is displaying correctly. Man, we're able to make a full functional PlayStation app, no problem, but we just want some pieces of artwork to be scrollable. A lot of issues. It just shows how important selecting the correct API is. And when I use an API personally, I always like to test it on a smaller scale. For this challenge, we're just going for it every time. But yeah, usually in these situations, I would test things in a smaller scale and just make sure have a complete understanding of how things function. All right, loading artwork, no artwork available. Then we're able to refresh it and it worked. Okay, let me see. So this is showing everything correctly now. All right, so this point in time works as we just tested. Reverting files, restarting workflow. Okay, finish reverting. What should I do now? Okay. So it's interesting. So we verified with the rollback preview that this version of the app should work. So I'm not 100% sure what would be causing that problem. Okay. Looks like it might just be an API issue where the calls are not processing correctly. Let me just let it know the page is not loading. All right, so should be able to get this fixed. This API is just having some issues, and that's why it's important to have a decent understanding of app development, because I was able to comprehend like, hey, the API might be having problems. It might not be the way the app is built. The app could be functioning technically, but the API might just not be functioning the way it should. So there's an infinite loop in the API. Okay. Let me create a simpler approach. Okay, so now it's changing the method that it calls the API. It's adding missing import and creating a fallback solution that would reliably let me implement a hybrid approach. Okay. So we don't want curated artwork data in here. It's saying basically that it'll try and use the API, but if it can't reach the API information, it'll use curated artwork data. But we don't want curated artwork data. We want the API to be called every time. So we gotta make sure that that's how it'll function. But for now, let this change go ahead and complete before we keep moving forward. All right, so it's trying to implement a simpler solution. Okay. So got to be mindful with Replit. It's always trying to just get things technically completed. It's not really worried as much about the quality or specifics. So you got to be able to point out certain things. It'll always go for a static image that it can fall back on, and it'll be perfectly fine with that. But as a user, you'll never really want to see a fallback image. Okay, simplifying the art viewer to use curated Met Museum artwork data instead of the complex API integration that's causing issues. Okay. Still getting those changes processed for us. Need to remove the loading state section that referenced the API and clean up the rest of the code. Okay, cool. So hopefully this works a lot better. Just got to wait for it to complete loading, and we can find out. Let me test the updated application to ensure it's working properly with the curated Met Museum artwork. Okay, nice. It's working on getting those changes updated for us. It's great. Let's check it out. So I'm already noticing it's locking at the second picture, and it won't scroll past the second image. Okay. So another quick tweak. Man, out of all the apps, I thought this would be the simplest one to create, to be real, but you never really know. It's these APIs. The page will not load beyond the second image. Save the artwork of 100 pieces. Let me say cache. Prevent loading time issues being presented to the user. Okay, so I'm just trying to let it know it needs to maintain at least 100 of these pieces of art so that we can prevent the issue of the user scrolling through and running into these loading problems. So it seems like it's actually not able to load, but if we cache that 100 images in, I know the first image was loaded, right? So we got here, but the second image isn't loaded. So the first image might be cached, or it might have just been able to load that first image and then it glitched up in some way. So if we're able to cache that first 100 images, then we'll at least have a fallback. So if there's any problems, it won't impact us. All right, so I'll create a comprehensive data set of 100 artworks with reliable image URLs and implement proper image preloading. All right, cool. So it's working on getting those added. These are all non-copywritten pieces of artwork, so shouldn't have any problem with getting those locally stored and making sure that we're able to see those correctly. So the beauty of this app, we want to make sure that art shows at the highest possible resolution, right? Because when you're looking at a painting in person, you're seeing it at the highest possible quality, and we need to make sure that this app can at least give a semblance of that quality as well. So you might be able to Google these art images, but you're not going to find all of the images together in one place with the breakdown of their backstory, all in the highest possible quality. So that's a value that we're looking to add in here. All right, so create a comprehensive data set of 100 artworks with reliable image URLs. Okay, cool. So let's get that updated for us. Loading up, loading up. Okay. So yeah, there's such a variation between these different apps. That's the beauty of doing all these different styles of projects. The last app, 2 hours, got a full flushed out PlayStation app. This hour in, we got the fundamentals. The goals are clearly intact. We have a solid design style. But we just need to get these bugs worked out a little bit. So you never really know what you're gonna get when you're making these projects. But the more you do it, the more you can get familiar with the ups and downs and the tricks. Okay. Let me create a complete data set with 100 reliable artworks and implement proper image preloading to solve the navigation issue. Cool. I'll replace the entire artwork collection with a comprehensive set that uses dependable image sources. Nice. So it looks like it's understanding the request. Get that updated for us. Okay. Reviewing the message. Okay. It's loading up those changes for us. Okay. I'm curious to see what this can do. Hopefully this is a solution we were looking for, really. So it's saying it's replacing the entire artwork collection with a comprehensive set that uses dependable image sources. So that's already throwing me off because I don't want the artwork replaced with reliable images. I want the actual artwork images that we had to load up correctly. Yeah, this might be a problem. Let me see though. That's the whole thing. When you're seeing these changes take place, kind of just got to let it do its thing. You can't really just jump in and make these changes in real time. You got to let it load up. The Great Waves of Kaganawa by Kushika Hokusai. All right. So it's trying to pull in some artwork from a different source. It looks like some of these are loading, some of them are not. Still going through this process. Okay. Yeah, it's still having loading issues. All right, so let me let it do its thing. The problem with this app, the changes that we've made may have put Replit in a position where it's just not comprehending the right direction to go in. Usually it's really important to start everything off clean and smooth and direct and accurate, because Replit is just, I mean, it's still a computer at the end of the day. It's not really as intelligent as it may seem. It's really just repeating and using basic judgment. So situations like this, being caught in a loop, kind of can cause a lot of issues, and it might just be stuck based on the choices that it's already made for this app. But let's see what we can get. Honestly, it might be easier. This is a simple project to create, but it's kind of tripping over its own feet pretty much, and it might be a better direct option just to restart how this process works. I don't want to do that. The goal is to just have all of these start and complete directly, but I just know personally this is a very direct, simple app to create. So if it's having this much problems, we might need to evaluate how we're going about getting this project done. I need to fix the syntax error in the file. Let me complete the array. Okay. Let me check the actual file content and fix the syntax error. All right, so it's getting some changes done. It's updating things. Okay. You can see the file's missing the closing bracket. And okay. Wonder what it's going to give us. Okay. Yeah, so it seems like it's not really making any changes. This program is failing at this one. What are we going to get though? Now let me expand the data set to 100 artworks and implement proper image preloading. Okay. So different reliable image sources. No. So I'm gonna just stop it right here. Pull the images from the requested API. Cache the first 100 to avoid loading. Never pull artwork from another source besides the requested API. Okay, do not use placeholders. All right, so yeah, this program it seems like it's trying to do a lot of things like pull from different sources of data instead of the pieces of art that we're requesting. I love the artwork that was coming from that API, so I definitely want to use that API. I don't want to use another source. So try to specify that, let it know don't use a placeholder image, pull from this specific source, just locking in the metrics. Like I said, Replit will try and find easy sources from time to time to get the information, but I'm just trying to make sure we can lock in exactly what we're going for here. Okay, let me fix the syntax error in the file. I need to clean up the syntax error in the Met artwork TS file. Okay, old static array was left behind. All right, so let's get those changes updated for us. 1 second, let me go grab my food that just came and let's see what we get back from this. All right, those changes still processing. So ideally, hopefully it was able to process and understand exactly what we were looking to have done. And we can get those results. Still loading up. I can see the issue. There's a reference. Okay. So yeah, like I said, since it was making all those changes, it's kind of tripping over its own foot. You can see it has variables being referenced like Met artworks that shouldn't be referenced. And yeah, that's the problem when it tries to pivot from the goal directly. It can cause a lot of situations like this, whereas basically it's saying, well, we tried to add from the Met API to get real artwork. Then it tried to use Wikipedia API to have backup images. So now we have to find out what changes it made while it was trying to add that other API source and make sure everything works correctly. So still loading. All right, so it's saying it had that change done for us, but as you can see, error. So it's not able to load that information correctly for us yet. Oh, okay. All right, so looks like it might be loading now. Okay. So we got 26 in total. Okay. Okay. So we got the app functional. Looks like it was able to get past that issue it was experiencing. We got artwork populating. It just had 26. So let's see what we can get now. Now it's saying no artwork available. Let me try that one more time. So it looks like the API is just giving us some issues. Whereas it was supposed to cache, that's why I wanted it to cache those 100 images, right? So that we could avoid this problem. No artwork available from the Met Collection API. All right, so let's try one more time. So error. The artwork is not displaying consistently. Make sure the API does not need to be called. Or know what? I'll just say cache the API data so that it is only required to be called once every 4 hours. Okay. All right. So just trying to let the app know only call the API once every 4 hours. So this should be ideally enough to let it know to store this information locally, which is the goal. We want 100 pieces of artwork stored locally, and if the user scrolls past those 100, then it should be able to retry that and call more information. Yeah, because now this just isn't loading at all. It's got to be the API. It's got to be the API. I can see the issue. Many artworks are failing to fetch. Only 26 are loading correctly. I'll implement a robust 4-hour caching system and use only verified artwork IDs that are known to work with Meta's API. Cool, or Met's API. So yeah, it looks like some of the artwork just isn't accessible from the site. Allegedly, even though originally we were able to pull up some of the artwork that's not showing up here anymore. So, and this is not, it's just not loading at all anymore. So let's see what we get back though. Man, when the ball is rolling, it's very easy to get inspired and keep flowing through the projects. But when we get hit with this much different bugs back to back, it's just like, man. All right, so let me test the updated application with the improved caching system. Okay. So we got that rollback checkpoint state. So it looks like that might have been able to do the job for us. Let's check it out. Loading artwork, curating masterpieces for you. Okay. So we got these populating, showing up fine. Okay. Okay. So we got these pieces of art showing up correctly, right? Each one of these, you click it and it'll show you a breakdown. Okay. All right. So these are working, but, and it's saying it's a 4-hour caching on here. So if I refresh this page, should instantly load up. Yep. Okay. Nice, nice, nice. So now we're going to change the method. So only 24 pieces of art populated. Change the method for accessing the art on the app. Pull 1000 functional pieces of art from the API. Specifically, and store them locally on the app. All right, so now I'm just letting it know only 24 of the pieces of art loaded. Seems like it's having problems with effectively, consistently pulling these pieces of art. So I'm just telling it, pull 1,000 pieces of artworks from that API, save them locally so that we never have to worry about them loading or not loading, and set it up so that we can access all of this information without ever going online. So yeah, this should be just changing the entire method that this app process is working to show us this information. It's just not working to consistently keep calling from the API. So let's just save everything locally. Man, but all of these different changes are, it's really not good to keep troubleshooting in this method using the Replit API or Replit AI, because every time you do a troubleshooting method, it costs money, real money. So the goal is always to do things straightforward, avoid getting caught in these loops, avoid trying to incrementally fix issues. In a normal real world situation, once I run into bugs with this program, I manually like to make edits and changes and suggestions. Specifically, I'll go through different lines of code and actually let it know exactly what I'm looking to have created or changed. But 30 apps in 30 days, we're only, hour in, a little bit over an hour in. So ball is still rolling. All right, so I need to create a more comprehensive embedded data set with many more authenticated MET artworks. Let me expand this to include around 100 plus verified artworks that will work offline. All right, nice. So it's making those changes we're requesting. I notice it says 100 plus when I actually manually set 1,000, so got to be mindful of that. Yep. All right, so now I'll update the main artwork file to use the embedded collection and complete the implementation. All right, cool. Cool. So looks like it at least understood that request and is trying to get that updated for us. So hopefully that is able to complete correctly and effectively, and we can move forward with the next project. This is supposed to be a simple one. Honestly, I was thinking we were kind of cheating a little bit with this one, but you never know. But the beauty is when you work with these APIs, you find out the different quirks and things like that. You got to think each of these APIs are stored on a different server. The information is coming from a different place every single time. So that server might not be as effective as another server, you know? Maybe the API calls like this is able to make 80 calls a second. Sounds like a lot, but once you use it, you know, you might find it's not really working effectively like it should, you know? So it's always good to test out the APIs and just understand what you're dealing with. That's why I default to the same APIs when possible. Like the TMDB API has been great for movies, and the ROG API has been great for gaming. So been defaulting to those. I might not want to use this API again, honestly, but we'll see. All right, so it's still loading that change, making these updates for us. Yep. So, but yeah, like I was saying, even here, right? So we can see that change, the previous change was 19 cents, right? Change before that, 43 cents. So it's pretty cheap, right? But it adds up. When you constantly making these little changes back and forth, can definitely add up. So it's always good to be mindful. All right, so create a more comprehensive embedded collection with 100 plus verified artworks. Still loading up. Okay, okay. I feel good about this though. I feel good about this. I think this is gonna work. I think it'll be perfectly fine. But let's find out though. Let's find out. Let's find out. It's only the second app of the night. I'm trying to knock out at least 3. At least 3. So yeah, let's find out though. All right, so still loading those changes in here. All right, so let's check it out. It just updated the embedded Met collection. Okay. So you can see right here, it has a full detail, right? And it has the image showing. So it manually added in these images. So we shouldn't have to load it all anymore. All right. Still loading these changes. Already seeing a loading screen on the second one. So, I don't know. Yeah, it looks like it's not updating effectively yet. The first one loads perfectly fine though. That's very interesting. All right. The page is giving a loading screen. All right, so yeah, I believe that it should have been able to get that artwork added in physically or locally so that we don't have to worry about any changes being made with that loading process. And I can see the different pieces of artwork are called in here, but for some reason it's not loading past the first image. First image didn't load at all. Second one, it's just giving this processing screen. It's scrolling past now. Okay. Let's see. Second image not loading. Okay. So once we get this streamlined and making sure this is working correctly, next step, increase the amount of pieces of art to 1,000. Okay, so you can see right here, 1,000. Working on getting 1,000 pieces of artwork in here, or it was working on getting 1,000 pieces of artwork in. All right, so need to add an on image error component and connect it to the parent component. The issue is many Met image URLs are failing to load. Okay. So looks like the problem is the API is restricting our access to an extent. Not good there. See if we can get around this though. Man, out of all of the apps to have this much bugs show up, I would not have expected this app. Honestly, not at all. See what we get though. All right, let me fix this by replacing the image URLs one by one since they're duplicates. Okay. So it looks like it's combing through and making sure the correct images are showing up for us. But yeah, seems like it's a situation where we just picked the wrong API. Should have used a better API on this one. So this is populating now. Okay. So it looks like it updated the type of images that it's pulling up and where it's pulling them from. We got 12 so far. Let me check if there's a proper way to access Met museum images and fix the API integration. All right. So looks like it might be working. It might be working for us now. Loading artwork from the Met, curating masterpieces for you. Okay. Let's see what we get. Okay. All right. So we click enter. It's loading up. So it's interesting. It seems like the API calls are causing a problem. And I can see here even failed to search. Okay, so each of these different pieces of art are attempting to be reached, but they're not being called correctly. Okay. So the art is giving us is amazing, but it's not able to consistently pull the art for us. Huh. Man, this API is not a good API to work with. I'm really noticing that right now. Let me see. I guarantee, or most likely when we reload this, it'll give us a different amount of artwork that it pulled up. Okay, no artwork available. So yeah, it's not saving locally. It's not caching these correctly. It's just not making these requested changes in the way that we're looking to have them created. So let me refresh again. Let me go to a different page. Check it out. Check it out. Second app of the night. PlayStation app had a lot more features and it went very smoothly. But yeah, this artwork, this API is just, it's not giving us what we need. So I'm going to try one more time to get this working the right way. So let's just say the app is attempting an API call each time it is loaded. Remove the requirement and locally store 1,000 of the images from the API. Verify they are correctly accessible before storing. Remove the requirement of internet access from the app. All right, so trying to get this working correctly. Again, the API is finicky at best. It's supposed to be able to do 80 calls a second. Clearly, it's not able to do 80 calls a second. Every time we reload the API, certain pieces of artwork are showing up correctly. Other pieces of artwork are not being pulled up correctly. So it's definitely just the communication with the API is not working consistently. And that lets me know maybe we honestly should use a different API. But for now, we're so far into this, we only have 2 hours per app. So I'm really just trying to flesh this out as much as possible with what we have. Got to think on our feet with this one. I'll remove all API dependencies and create a comprehensive offline collection. Okay. It looks like it's understanding what we're going for at least. But I needed to understand to pull from that specific API, which I did note. Yep. Okay. Remove the requirement and locally store 1,000 of the images from the API. So it knows that we need the API to make these calls, but we don't need to make calls every time we load the app. Just save the artwork locally. It's not copywritten. All right. Now I'll replace the fetch function to use the offline collection. Okay, cool. So it looks like it was able to get that, get those images collected for us. And now it's just making sure that the database is pulling from the images saved locally instead of the images that can be generated online. So this will remove all the loading. We won't have to worry about any loading at all. We'll get all of that clean artwork. The biographies and different details about the pieces of art should be already stored in our system. So ideally, this should be it. It should be it. We should be good on this one after this, but who knows? Might be another bug to fix, but always got to stay optimistic for sure. I think it'll work perfectly fine with no issues at all. All right. Now I need to build a comprehensive offline collection. All right, cool. So it's working on getting that collection. Okay, let me expand the collection significantly to include 100 plus artworks and remove all API dependencies. Cool. Let's see what we get back from this. I really do like the artwork that it's generating for us though, or it's showing us. All the artwork has been really nice. All of these descriptions have been perfect. No issues with the actual functioning components. Just need to make sure everything works. Yeah, it's a perfect app. Anybody could use this app. You know, a kid, a grandmother, old, young, everybody can use this app. Anybody, I mean, art. It's art. Art is for everybody. These are masterpieces, you know? So got to think in the 1500s, you wouldn't have even had access to ever see these in person. So it's a very powerful project. Simple, but powerful. I see the issue. The official Met collection array is empty. Okay. All right. So looks like we have the database. The offline Met collection database exists. And now it's populating that information. And it looks like it is trying to get that from the API. It's referencing Met collection in the name of the database. So gotta assume that that's going to work correctly. Got to assume that's going to be good to go. But we could find out though. Yeah, it's just from what I'm seeing with this project, it looks like that API is just not reliable. It's just not reliable. Some APIs, I mean, every API is storing the information on the server, right? The information has to be somewhere and it has to get to us in a certain way. So it seems like that process is not just functioning correctly, even though, and that's a good thing to know, right? Like, even though it's saying that we get 80 calls a second, we're not using 80 calls a second. It doesn't matter. It's just not functioning the way it's expected to. So sometimes you need to test things out and find out. All right, so updating the main Met artworks TS file. Okay, still getting things processed. So far, we got 2 out of 3. We will have about 1,000 pieces of artwork once this is done loading. And I love how this functions so far, though. Seems like, gotta make sure the image quality stays super high, though. Okay, so this is high quality images. Okay, nice. Okay. All right, still loading those changes for us. Still loading those changes. But like I said, I want this app to be very, very, very easy to use. Press enter, boom. You're looking at artwork, all randomized throughout history, different pieces, iconic, you know, and each one you can click, you know, just give you a cool breakdown. So it looks pretty crazy on the desktop for the most part, but on the phone, all of this is really perfectly sized and it looks really, really clean. All right, so it's only loaded up 25 so far. 25 verified artworks. All right, so increase the size to 1,000. Database to 1,000 artworks. All right, so now we got to get that increased to 1,000 pieces of art. It got 25 pieces of art. And we removed the online requirements. So just got to get that updated to 1,000 pieces of art. Just want to make sure that this app, not trying to clickbait anybody, really want all of these apps to be completely functional, at least on a fundamental level. And then we can just keep adding more and more and more on top. Check things out. All right, so now I'm going to try the app on the phone. See how that works. Still loading these changes for us. Okay. Okay. So on the phone, it looks pretty nice on the phone. Pretty nice. Things can be a little bit resized, but it's working. It's working. And the goal, honestly, is just, you can just scroll through and you can see all of these different pieces of art. Just get that inspiration. You can click each image. So if you click, let me get this full screen. So if you click any of the individual images, right, you actually get a great breakdown right there, showing all the details you would be looking for about it. So it's more of a, like, for instance, with Twitch or for TikTok, it's a lot of brain rot, right? It's a lot of scrolling. situations, and it's just popular. Reddit, all the main apps nowadays, it's all a scrolling feature. Instagram. So how about a scrolling feature where you can find the most iconic levels of artwork possible, give you a little breakdown of everything. Like, it's just another way to scroll, but it's more of a educational style, you know, more of a high quality style than average. So I'm already noticing this is loading. So allegedly there's 1,000 pieces of artwork stored on this database for us now, but not seeing these load yet. So let's check out what might be causing that problem. So the images are now not loading. I know we have the images and they're stored locally, so just need to make sure that they're showing up correctly for us. All right, see if we can get back. So close. We had things working on a smaller level. The generated image URLs are invalid since they point to random Wikipedia paths that don't exist. All right. So no. It should not be. No, make sure the images are stored locally. No internet access required. All right, so looks like it's still trying to go against that. Replit will always try and find a path of least resistance. So in this situation, it looks like it was trying to still add in that internet aspect that we don't want. So just got to point it out one more time. And like I said, it seems like, and it might just be my perspective, maybe it's just humans being humans trying to find a pattern somewhere, but in my experience, the longer I use Replit consistently in one setting, it always seems to have a lot more bugs showing up. So I don't know, maybe it's me, I don't know, but I have a theory that they might be throttling the capabilities of the program when you use it too long in one setting. All right, so app needs to work completely offline. I'll create a solution using locally stored images. Let me create placeholder images. Man, so yeah, now it's trying to add in placeholder images and everything like that. Let me just revert back. Yeah, let me revert back. It was working. It's working. We need more pieces of artwork added in here, but we have a fully functional app with the 25 images pulling up correctly and things like that. I like the functionality of it. So I usually would like to have a lot more features added in and a lot more details, but for the general goal of this project, it is working. We just need to expand the amount of pieces of artwork we have in here. I want to use a different API, so if I end up going back to this project, I'll just change the API to a different one that's a lot more reliable. But yeah. All right, so that is the second app of the night that was wrapped up. To be honest, I'm gonna hop back on a little bit later, probably in like an hour. I'm not one of the guys that wants to eat on stream or anything like that. I feel like you guys want to see the actual work, not me eating or things like that. So I'm gonna step away for about an hour. I'm gonna go ahead and grab some food really quick, come back, have a new thumbnail. We can get started with the third app of the day. All right, but for now, appreciate you guys watching. My name's Adrian Glenn. This is Military Grade Automation, and see you guys next time. All right.